Hey! Hello!
Hello.
Hey.
Hi everyone!
Hello. Hindi ako na-inform.
Hi.
It's the Becky night pala.
Oh, di ba?
Hi Maya! Nice you join us!
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
So long.
Para tayo
Oo
nasa
nga eh.
lounge ng Sofitel or like
True.
lobby ng Conrad. Ganyan.
I love this music by the way. Parang nasa hotel lounge tayo.
Diba?
Tapos live sa tinutugtog ng saya.
Yeah. Makinig muna tayo. Sure.
Oh my gosh, your voice is not nice.
Diba? Let us put ourselves in the presence of
Sa off it's a...
whoever doing. Wala pa.
Or pero grabe yung music. Kasi iba yung effect talaga sa emotion.
My God.
True. Yes. Ipapalapak muna tayo sa lahat. Welcome everyone to our session. It's Monday. Hey!
Hey.
Perfect. Welcome to our show. Ang kalmado.
Ang chill mo ngayon, Nico.
Take it away. Kanino ibibigay? Ibigay natin kay ano? Ay, si Pat.
Uy, ay.
Pati, presidente natin.
Start ng town hall.
Ayun na, start na po ang town hall ng Sunsets.
Yes.
Patty, take it away.
Dahil late ka. Take it away.
Si Ma'am inaantay natin. Yes. Alright. Ano ba gagawin natin tonight? Ayun.
Tala.
Well, wala lang. Tonight we will be talking about it's actually parang I would consider na not as maingay as the Together the other BL series na nag-premiere during the prime of the people's interest with Thai BLs in general, no? So I think there has been a shift at least in the community we belong to, like siguro with the people that we are interacting with. Pero today and tonight we will be going back to, hindi naman siya going back actually, pero kasi hindi naman natin iniwan in a general term, no. Pero
Yeah.
we will be reviewing a much awaited review series na pinag-usapan ng mga for good 5 to 7 weeks, although 5 episodes lang siya, like naglilinger yung conversation regarding this series, no, even after the finale. So tonight we will be talking about I Told Sunset About You. Yes. I love it. Napanood nyo na ba to?
Hindi, tatambay
Hindi
lang.
pa. Tsaka lang.
Hindi talaga.
Actually, wala
Dumaan
pa
talaga ako.
Actually, wala pa nakakapanood sa atin. Wala lang to. Wala lang. Joke lang. Joke lang
For
talaga.
those who haven't seen it in the chat, well, we're going to be talking about it. So if you haven't seen it, then you most likely hear some spoilers. So fair warning. That's it.
Yes. Okay. Wait, before anything, we'll just say hi to some of our friends in the chat. We have Nolan. I think Nolan is here. Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully I won't disrespect them.
Ayan si Nolan, of course, as always. And we have Petro, of course, as always.
Hi, mahal.
Yes, never supportive.
Never supportive. Yes, gusto ko yan. May pinost yan na natawang-tawa ako. Hindi ko alam kung ano ba yung na-post. Kalimutan ko. Ang dami ko nang tinitignan sa Facebook.
Hindi.
Yes,
It has to do with the Sassy Pet Chai, their podcast, kasi I think one of them was shipping Darwin Yu, and Nolan's. Darwin Yu is Nolan's. So that's a summary of that.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Nobody
Before
touches Darwin Yu.
Yes. No. Yep.
Very true. Okay. Before we head on and jump right in, we'll just play a clip. Hindi ko ma-upload yung clip dito sa StreamYard. Ang laki ng file eh.
Okay.
Wait lang. Paano ko ba to?
Hindi lang yan yung malaki. Tsaka Go, Nico. Tuloy lang.
Huwag ganun.
Ano pa? What
Ano
else is
pa?
big?
Itong mug ko with hibiscus tea. And
Yeah.
Yes.
So the
Ilaban
series
niya.
tonight.
Mine is lemon chiffon. So,
Ay, tumatawid sa kabilang series.
oops, hindi Fonchilis na nga raw sila eh.
Fonchilis daw sila. Okay, sige. Fonchilis it is.
Fonchilis na. Okay.
Wait lang, let me just set up the video kasi ano ba to? Parang bagong-bago pa tayo sa
No
StreamYard, no?
problem.
Yeah.
First look
Dark
pa rin
Blue Kiss
natin.
ba yung i-review natin?
I'm so sorry. Diyos ko, dahil pag hindi tayo regular na, laging nag-stream, nawawala talaga tayo sa Wish. Wait, ito na.
True.
Alright, let's watch this, everyone. Narinig niyo ba?
Hey, Mark! Today is a very special day for you, man. It is your birthday! Woo! Happy birthday, Mark! It's a party. Let's party.
Yay!
Hi Mark, as usual, latest na video to Sir Maya. I wish you happy birthday. We wish you the best in terms of love life, career, and not just for 2021, but for all the years to come. So, miss you, happy birthday. Sana kalap po tayo soon.
Hey Mackie, happy birthday. I just wish you the best today. Masarap yung ulam nyo. No, thank you for supporting Sheet and me especially. So yeah, I hope you have a great day today. Have an awesome birthday today, and I wish you all the best in this coming 2021.
Hi, me. Happy birthday. So, hoping makapag-travel na tayo this year. To more birthdays to come, and more birthdays together. And my
Yes!
wish for you is for you to achieve all your goals in life because I know you deserve them all. I'll see you pagluwas mo and
Yes,
always
pagluwas!
remember that I love you.
Yes! Diyos ko, dahil.
Anong masasabi mo, P-Mark?
Oo, Diyos ko, may pagluwas pa. Gusto ko yun.
Actually, yung pwedeng yung
Pinagpawisan
second
ka
and third
ba?
person, pagpalitin na lang.
Grabe siya.
Oh my God. Nagulat ako kay Iyo. Oh my God.
Oh, happy birthday, Maki! Just go! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Ayan. Diba?
Yes.
Saan ba ito
Kids
galing? Sinerge ko
Children's
lang
party
talaga
lang.
sa YouTube. Okay. Ayan, so, happy birthday, Mama. So, ako muna mag-greet siguro. Mag-greet kami bawat isa para masaya. Ayan, so, happy birthday, Maki. I think sa lahat sa amin dito, I think, di ba we started out as 6 before? 5, diba? And then, you came along. And then, at first kasi, ang first impression ko sa'yo, napaka-chill and parang hindi kita, sabi ko pa kayo, hindi kita makausap. But later on, sabi ko, hala, parang patay ko yata to si Bakula. Bet ko itong kausap every time. Alam mo yung pwede mo siyang kabardagulan every day, yung ganong levels. Yung kahit magkita kami sa kalye or magpo-bob, char.
Yes.
Oo, demure pa siya nung una.
Correct. Siguro, I'll have to say yung dark blue kiss, yun yung nagbigay sa akin ng first impressions sa kanya na parang, hala, hindi ko alam kung paano siya timplohin. Pero nung kalaunan, hala, si Baklo, ka-vibes ko to. Wala lang, yun lang. So, happy birthday. Alam mo naman yan, mga nag-usap-usap naman tayo sa Messenger all the time. And I really appreciate you. More than just like a colleague dito sa BBS, but a friend really. Napag-uusapan din natin parang nagkakasundo tayo sa mga ideologies natin sa buhay, alam mo yan, diba?
Yes.
So I really
Very
appreciate
academic.
Very academic, yes, ideology chart. But I really appreciate you. You are a big blessing in 2020 and in 2021. Sabi mo nga sa akin sa Instagram or sa Messenger pa yun, I hope magkita-kita tayong pito soon, no? matapos na tong pandemic na to, no? So yun, happy birthday, stay in love. Always inspire us with your BL love story. Yun lang. Happy birthday, mama!
Thank
Yeah!
you.
I love it. Meron na tayong sound effects ngayon.
Taray!
Diba?
Mukhang mayaman yung sound
Yes.
effects.
Oo.
Right.
2021 is the year of sound effects.
Yes! Alam mo
True
yan.
that.
And we're here for it.
Yes.
Siguro I'll go next na. So,
Go.
I pretty much had the same impression as Nico. Parang at first, parang I didn't know if we were going to be able to, jive because remember, my first encounter with Maki was actually at work, and he
Yeah,
seemed
actually.
very, very aloof and very serious.
Yeah, I
But,
get
I
that a
mean,
lot.
I understood that because I think very stressful yung work niya. So that's why
True.
he's very focused on it. So parang it's all about efficiency and ano pa yan, parang very business-like talaga siya. But then, parang things changed. And we started,
Balahura pala siya.
hindi naman. But things changed talaga when we started doing BBS. Diba? Parang, oh my God, this guy is very, very intelligent. He's funny, and he's also very, very insightful. So parang, I'm really happy that you're part of the group. And of course, for 2021, I wish that all of your plans and all of your dreams come true. Like your Bo mentioned, diba? Sana makapag-travel kayo. Sana all of us will be able to travel again. And
Yeah.
I hope that we're able to achieve, if not our long-term goals, maybe our short-term goals for this year. I know, you deserve it naman. So sana this year, mangyari yung mga lahat ng ipapag-wish mo for yourself. So that's it.
Yes! More claps. May tanong talaga yung audience, mama. Anong tawag ni Pao sa'yo? Me? Me? Ay, me ba yun?
Mhm.
Ang yung
Hindi
ano?
yata.
B ba?
Diba or me?
Me?
Private
It's
chat
me.
na lang tayo.
Sorry na, no? Chismosa lang talaga.
Uy, may message din si Nolan para kay Maki.
Yes.
Kasi Bruha asked, what is your birthday message for Maki?
Okay, sige.
And
Let me.
Nolan said,
There you go.
Oh.
Yes!
Wow.
or Sauvage.
Savage.
Savage, yes. Pang
Savage.
Vogue magazine yung Savage.
Correct. Francais.
Good,
Thank
guys.
you,
Ayan.
Nolan. Thank you.
Yes. Gusto ko yan. Medyo pa. Uy, tsaka yung
Year of
favorite
the sound
mo
effects talaga.
correct. Favorite mo sound effects, mama. Ito.
Oh my God.
I love it. May library na tayo ng sound effects.
O, tumatawid yung sound effects na yan.
Para na tayong talaga, professional studio.
Yes.
Diba?
Sino na, Lance?
Si Mayora muna.
Ayan, si
Sige,
Patricia
I'll go
Esquel.
next.
Patricia.
Very, ay, buong pangalan. Recitation ba to? Maki, happy birthday! Grabe, nung first impression ko sa kanya, sabi ko, shock, sino yung Mark Victoria? Taga-CE daw. Taga-CE? Taga saan siya sa CE? Kilala ko lang sa CE, si Ange tsaka si Maya. Sino kaya siya? Tapos parang, okay, so first review, ganyan. Tapos sabi ko, yun pala siya. Okay, sige. Tapos later on, nagulat ako na parang, nagulat ako kasi parang, di ba, we started out as ilan lang ba yung magkakakilala talaga sa group, and then eventually we got to know each other better. And then natuwa pa ako nung nalaman ko na na army din siya, JK stan. Sabi ko, bet.
Yes.
Tapos yun. So yun, natuwa ako. Oo, so Maki, thank you so much for everything. Salamat sa pagbudol mo sa amin ni Anne sa pagbili ng mga kung ano-anong BTS related stuff. Sabihan mo lang kami pag may bibilin ka ulit. Magpapabudol kami ulit ni Ange. Thank you so much. And siguro if there's anything that I wish for you this year, sana 2021 is your year of happiness, year of everything that your heart desires. So sana makuha mo lahat yon this year. Happy birthday, and I'm so happy to have met you, and sana mas maging close pa tayo in the next years to come.
Yeah.
Dumaan lang talaga ako para bumati.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go next na para save the best for last.
Save the best for last.
For Save the rest for Lance.
Happy birthday to the face of BBS. Oh my gosh,
God.
feeling ko like you wouldn't have reached half of our following and of our fan base if we didn't put you in the middle of the screen. But kidding aside, I super duper appreciate you as a workmate and as a co-BBS mate. So as a workmate, I think it comes in two levels. Diba? Number one, of course, we really did work together. So I appreciate us like bouncing off each other during late nights for work. Diba? Kaya kapag may urgent, like we quickly like act on things. I super duper appreciate you for that. And also on a second level, so as a workmate, I'm super duper appreciative that you also came into the art department of BBS already. So thank you kasi minsan I also really do lag on the artwork. So but more than that, I also appreciate you infusing creativity into this group. And also as a co-BBS member, I appreciate me being able to like bounce off with you on a sewer level, like canal level, and a very intellectual level. So super, minsan kahit within the group or like just amongst the two of us, marami kami like banters as well. So I super duper appreciate you for that. Stay healthy, stay in love, stay gorgeous, stay happy.
Yes.
And I hope that you've used our surprise gift for you already. Give us a review.
I will let you know.
Yes. Hanggang sa pwede ko rin i-invite si Pao for a joint review.
Ayan, yes.
Yes.
There we go. Oy, before si Lance, siguro kasi save the best for Lance daw. Basahin muna natin kay re-rating ni Ange Villarante. Gusto ko complete yung name natin tonight.
Ange Villarante.
Maria Angelica Ruz.
Ayan.
Kompleto na.
Ayan, may message talaga siya dito.
Si Maan. Hello, Maan. Maan.
Yes, Maan. And funny how Maki and I became
I thought
closer
yes.
when we were no longer teammates and just seeing each other virtually. And akala ko, ayan, haba. Akala ko din, nung una, masungin si Maki. Kasi laging poker face sa office, but I was so wrong. Very wrong. Hala, ang haba, mama. Wait lang, sige, ilang paragraph. Oh, ito na. Babasahin natin.
Ilang lines din yan.
Oo. So, you've officially become the devil of my life, also known as nagdidemonyo ng mga merch. Oo, sabi nga ni Patty kanina, nabudol mo raw sila. Here's to more virtual laps, boodles, and sharing of thirst pics. Yes! More.
Yes.
And thank you for being my friend. Learned so much from you and I'm truly grateful. Love you all. Meron pa, may pa-PS pa siya. Nako, Ange, ilang paragraph to? PS, sorry I couldn't be there. I'm still working. Yes, Mama, we understand you. Yes.
Ako din, escape ako after ng message ni Lance.
Surely.
It's okay.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you,
I'll
Ange.
delay it, extend it as much as I can. Ganun na. Hi, but yeah, happy birthday, Maki. I think the first time I learned about you was sabi ko, nako, he's from UP2, intellectual, makaseryoso tong tao. Tapos I know your college, sabi ko, with the people I know from your college, they're usually smart. And at the first salang pa lang mo, parang I saw na, parang, intellectual. And I got, oo nga eh. And eventually got to see your kalat side. So that was good to see. And thank you so much for opening up to everyone and opening up to me especially. Somehow we've connected in some level. And I love the fact that you're also participating in, I see your art also in Twitter, especially with Craig's Sketchy Thursdays. Love seeing that. And I hope you stay inspired. Hope you stay strong in whatever you do. Hope you stay healthy as well. And I hope you would shine, as Craig would say, because you can do anything. Happy birthday.
Yes. Na-surprise ka ba, Mama?
Oo. Kala ko nandito lang ako para in-internalize ko na kasi si Te at saka si O, tapos biglang ako pala muna yung bid.
Ikaw talaga yung bida. Ganun yun.
Yes.
Diyos
Oh my
ko.
God. Pero seryoso, thank you so much for everything. No? I mean, kasi ano yun nga, I've just, you guys mentioned it already na when I joined the group, actually, it was, di ba Maya, it was after me watching like TNU, yung Global Live fan meet
Yes.
ng TNU, and then Maya found out about my story. I think it was an IG story. Tapos,
Mm.
he got me on board. So, parang ko, oh my God, wait, I'm not yet ready for this level of like commitment. Kasi, una-una, I'm still, di naman learning the ropes, pero I'm still, parang finding my stepping stones inside the BL world. Tapos,
Yeah.
I'm already part of a group of a squad. So, oh my God, shit, di ko kaya yung commitment. Pero sige, push. Oh, yeah,
Well,
but
thank God
I
for
just,
pushing.
Yes, thank
yeah.
you.
So, parang nakwento ko din to kina, kina Patty and Ange, I think, na nung una nahihiya ako, I think hindi lang ako, nahihiya kami kay Nico. Kasi parang, hala wait lang, buhat ni Nico yung
Seryoso
buong
ba?
brew. Tapos si Maya, buhat niya yung mga materials, yung artwork, ganyan. So, shit, do I step up? Like, kailangan ko bang, sige, push, sige, step up tayo. Then, ayan. So, doon na nag-start yung pagiging member ko ng art department ni Maya for BBL.
The art department. Kudos to the art
Pero,
department. For your wonderful art.
Yeah.
Pero kidding aside, I really want to thank you guys for first and foremost for the very surprising gift. Like, oh my God, I was really surprised. Like, oh my God, iniisip ko agad kasi kung galing siya sa like sa online shop or sa Shopee, iniisip ko agad na wait, so yung cookies nun nakuha na record na ng Shopee
Oh my
yung
God.
cash. So yung mga advertisements sa social media ng taong umorder nun, sabi ko, oh my God. Yun yung pumasok sa isip ko. Pero
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I really want to thank you guys for being parang for helping me get through 2020 and hopefully 2021. I mean, if 2020 was the year for us getting through it, I mean, I hopefully 2021 will be a year for us to really make our mark and stamp our footing on where we are and propel together forward. So I'm really thankful for having met all six of you, si Ange na nag-work pa ngayon. So
Oh,
I'm really thankful for the months, and hopefully sa anniversary natin is makapagkita na tayo face to
yes.
face. No? And ayun, it's really thank you so much.
Yes, we deserve happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Uy, gamitin mo yung gift, ha? Like,
Yes,
With video.
with video, with pleasure.
Yes, definitely.
Literally.
It's going to
Literally.
be it's your pleasure. Kasi
Yes. Not only mine though.
the pleasure is yours.
Oh, yes, yes.
Literally.
And
Masashare ko yung
yung
Pleasure.
pleasure of having the gift.
The gift that gives on the gift that keeps
Keeps
on
on-
coming. Coming.
Yeah.
I love that.
Bumenta kayo mga.
Galing mo doon.
Diyos ko.
Oo.
Sweetie.
Smart
Yeah.
ka. Pwede kang mag-work sa marketing.
Sorry, hindi makatawa ng malakas. Diyos ko. Happy birthday, Mama.
Happy
Yes.
birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! Enjoy!
Yes. Oh,
Wait
ayan.
lang, sorry. May question ako bago tayo
Yeah.
mag-move on.
Go.
Paano niya nakausap si Iyo?
Mikey?
Okay.
Minessage ko lang siya.
The powers
Thanks
of
our
Mikey, the
external relations.
External
Easy
affair.
naman.
Got
Yeah.
it.
He's
The
a really
name
nice
answer.
guy. He's very responsive.
Yeah, di ba? I was with him last night and we were hanging
Oh,
outside.
talaga? Hindi niya na-mention kanina.
Iba. Kamandag mo.
Grabe. Yes. Magsigang
Oh
ka
my God.
mamaya, ha?
Gulat ako doon.
Uy, i-share mo daw yung
Yung video, di ba?
Yes. Yung ulam daw. I-share mo. Anong ulam mo bukas? Bukas, di ba?
Hmm.
I-tag mo
Pagluluto
siya
ko
sa
naman siya.
Twitter. Sorry. Yes, o, diba? Happy birthday, Maki!
Happy
Yeah.
birthday!
Thank you.
Happy
Yes, okay.
birthday.
Sige,
Right.
before you proceed, I would have to step out na kasi I
It's
also have
okay.
things to do.
Yes,
Sorry.
Maki, it's
Thank
Enjoy
okay.
you.
the rest of the night.
Thank
I'll
Enjoy
try
the rest of the
you.
to
night,
I try to
Harry.
watch.
See you
Bye-bye.
next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ayan.
Ayan.
And
So it's
that's it
back to
for
the
tonight. Thank you so much for
Thank you for
watching.
watching.
We'll see you on the next one.
biglang
Bye-bye. Ano?
biglang tinapos eh. Yan. Uy, baka maniwala sila. Oh my gosh.
Uy, joke lang, joke lang. Ano,
Joke
ang
lang.
kanal...
Okay.
Yes. Ang kanal
Yes.
natin tonight, no? Gusto ko yun.
Oo.
Oo, we're
Gusto ko
channeling
yun.
Maki now eh. It's a
Oo.
balance of Maki.
I can be canal and intellectual at the same time, which is very hard to do.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yes.
I think we can all be. If we really put our mind to it, we can do it. We can be anything, Char.
Yes.
Yes.
And if Nico puts his mind
Right.
into it, makakatawa din siya ng malakas mamaya-maya lang.
Uy, sorry. Baka mabugahan ko kayo ng suka talaga anytime soon.
Wait,
Char.
nagsiselos talaga si Kiko dahil may
Saan?
greeting ka from Iyo.
Oh my gosh.
May comment talaga siya.
Yeah.
926.
Teka.
Umaampalaya siya ngayon. Sige
What?
ka tomato, lumalawan ng kapwa niyang gulay, ampalaya pa.
And then, hi,
Message
Love
mo din
Chef. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you for joining. So, iba daw tayo ng manner of death. Hi.
Correct. And
Yeah.
there are also birthday greetings from LM and Loudship. Thank you, guys.
Ayan.
Ayan, 924. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hi,
There we
Ellen.
Thank you.
Hi, LM.
go. Yes.
Thank you so much.
O, diba? Mahal ka talaga ng sambayan ng Pilipino. Maki.
Yes, with the 12,000 viewers that we have right now and few hearts.
Yes, thank you for the 12,000.
Yes.
Ay, wait, nagsiselos rin daw si Pietro. Bakit? I-stand ba siya? I-stand ka rin.
Hindi. Iba
Bakit?
yung nangyari.
Explain.
I will make chika later. Because tonight, it's all about Itzy.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh.
game na raw, sabi ni
Pero
Kiko.
may kinalaman yung kamatis doon, kaya it's all about Itzy. Yun lang.
Okay.
Okay.
Push.
Sige. Push na.
Lalaban na ba
Push na.
tayo? Sige, eto na.
Laban na.
Maki, pasok!
May
Si
gagawin.
Maki na ba? Go, Maki. Dahil birthday mo.
Oo.
Ikaw na. Sure.
Birthday mo, project mo, ganun.
Correct.
Bago na yung bylaws natin, birthday mo, project mo, ganun yun. Sure lang.
Okay.
Ay, ang hirap pala.
How is it gonna go? Para may idea yung audience natin.
Yes. I think as we agreed last week, or weeks back,
As we agreed.
may ganun.
Parang hindi.
Alignment meeting.
Correct. Meron tayong memorandum of agreement last 2 weeks.
As discussed.
Oo. Nagmowa tayo na to. We'll be just be going through some of the photos. 21 photos to Maya. Tinapatan ko talaga yung 25 mo before, yung sa game night natin. Pero yung 25, ito 21, binawasan natin ng 4 muna. For now, tinitaas natin yung waters. Char lang. Ano waters? Kasi I told Sunset about tubig eh. Ano daw?
Tawid na tawid.
Kasi sunset,
Oh.
so we have to let the sunset on some of
May
the
water.
photos.
Correct.
Yeah.
Lagyan natin ng palakpak yan. Yes. Alright, so we'll be just going through some of the photos and then we'll be commenting on everything. Siguro yung story. We'll also talk about the cinematography. Super, I think, kilalang-kilala naman ang It Says cinematography, you know. And then we can then progress. We'll do it differently siguro tonight. Kasi before we basically talked about mga delighters, satisfiers, and then bummers. Ito naman, we'll talk about every scene siguro. Hindi ko lang sure kung tama yung sequence ko ng episode. Correct me na lang if I'm wrong. But we'll just go through the motion and then the photos na.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, let's go to the first. Ayan, ito yung photo. Ito yung
Yung
poster.
photo 0. So, 22 photos actually dito.
Correct. So, magkakaroon tayo dito. I think yung
this is the title page.
Right.
But this happened, this happened in either the 3rd or the 4th episode. So chronologically, it's gonna be at the back.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
Actually, tama ka, Mikey. This is just a title page. So, wala talaga siyang relevance.
Mhm.
Ito talaga yung unang photo natin.
Starter
Yan.
siya.
Ito.
Ay.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Alright.
Oh my
Siguro
God,
what really struck
Nolan.
me here is the composition of the scene. So, parang I think the style of the director is very distinct with the symmetry. Di ba? Parang if it reminds me of another famous director. Yung director ng The Grand Budapest Hotel or something.
Ah,
Na
okay.
puro
Yes.
na very
Yes.
symmetrical yung na very symmetrical yung
Yes.
um treatment ng mga scenes niya. And
Mhm.
it's very consistent all throughout.
I know.
Yeah. Kasi
Mhm.
parang first episode pa lang, first in pa lang, you could see the director has a very cinematic eye. Kasi he loves his
Yeah.
angles, he loves his visions, he loves his patterns and symmetries. He loves to play with negative space, especially
Correct.
with these two scenes. Parang there's so much
Mm-mm.
empty space, which is rare to find with a new genre na pumapasok ngayon. So I
Oh,
love
if
the fact that he was playing with the lights and the shadows, using them as
correct.
empty spaces.
Wes Anderson, I remember now. Very Wes Anderson yung treatment niya. And I guess it also like added some sort of an elevation to the series. I mean, not to like directly compare, but I mean, it's very different from other Thai BL series. Na you know that the others are very, very cheeky, while this one's really on the artistic side. So it really like
Yeah.
added that nice touch.
Yes. Tapos you add the music into this pa. You could hear the background
Oh,
music playing while this was happening. So it was a beautifully done BL series for sure. It started with a bang. It was episode one.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, I remember that this is practically the beginning and the end of episode one, I think, diba?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because yes, they started off as friends. Actually, they ikukwento ko na ha. Actually,
Go lang.
they became acquainted. They became friends in the seventh grade because they were both afraid of fireworks, and they developed this friendship. And throughout episode one, basically, it showed them doing things together, their common interest, and also something that tore them apart, basically, diba? Because Te wanted to be an actor, and then he wanted to do this specific role, but then it was OL who got the role, and then eventually he built this resentment. So that shows what Mam Yao said, I think, and Kiko, that they were very intimate at the beginning when they were still kids, starting out, because they were best friends, and then they were estranged because of that thing that happened between them. Um, I feel somehow that I guess we're going to talk more about what happened in episode one in the coming later on.
Episodes.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for me, basically this evokes sort of like a sad kind of or a melancholy kind of feeling for me, because I remember what they argued about. They were estranged for practically 5 years, I think, right? I mean, Te even moved to a different school, and then communication was lost. They ghosted each other, and then the only thing that really brought them back together was an extra Chinese class, because they were studying for the admissions exam to get into the university. Yeah, so they went through a lot of stuff together. I guess we'll talk more about that later on. But yeah, those are just my initial thoughts on this picture.
Hmm. Ako naman, actually, what I really have to comment, na feeling ko kasi since we'll be showing then a series of photos, no, taken here and there throughout the whole series, no. One thing visually, no questions asked, very consistent. I told something about you in terms of color theory on how they use the colors, they use the colors of red, the blues, like the greys and the yellows are all consistent. So I think naman in terms of with this particular scene, no, It's more than the color. I think it shows din kasi although nakikita ko kasi medyo hazy siya na color. So I think it's parang it's somehow setting us off to parang to the human experience that we will be um witnessing throughout watching episodes the further the after the episodes after this scene. No? Um what I like about this scene kasi is not only it parang not only it is the start technically of the parang it concretized the human connection that the two characters have. Eh. Pero kasi with the photo of the second just in the second the photo below, we've seen how the connection was lost. If you will look at
Mhm.
it in a direct manner, you'll see that the connection is lost. Eh. Pero kasi parang meron siyang subtle na parang they're still longing for each other, albeit that they are quite hesitant to make the first move, to make amends and whatnot. Pero kasi the fact that they still care for each other in a polar way, parang kasi we usually see them caring for each other in a very direct manner na nakikita natin na inaalagaan ng yung isa. Pero when things happened the way it happened, no? Nakita natin on how nag-shift yung care nila for each other towards parang towards na medyo merong distance, merong hindi pagkakaunawaan. Pero I think napakita din itong scene na to is their willingness to still look back and to still look forward then in terms of parang gusto nila magkaayos. Parang hindi nila sinasabi kasi that's one thing that's good with Itse. You know? Parang there are so many conversations left unsaid, but
Yes.
those
Yeah.
conversations manifested throughout scenes, throughout the choice of cinematography, the choice of angles, the choice of clothes,
Yes.
even costume, even. So parang it's a whole conversation. It's a parang ano eh, it's a full human experience when you're watching It's a and I think these two photos encapsulates greatly the human connection between O and Te. Yeah.
Mm. And I think in this particular scene, in the upper portion of it, remember, Oa does something strange whenever his back itches. So he does sort of like a, what do you call that? Like he's smelling something bad, and then Ed would always scratch his back because he knows that that's what's happening, right? So you can see them almost touching, and they did that when they were kids as well, and they're sitting beside each other and then looking forward together, right? But here,
Mhm.
in the other picture, it's sort of like they're here. They've already sort of like started to reconnect, right? But you can still see the standoffish attitude, and basically, um, it sort of establishes the idea that in a way they're rivals. So that's why parting is sort of like a face off because they're facing each other, you know. So more on that later on. Love Ship has a comment in the chat, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
that part broke me a bit because OAO for me did not see Te as a competition and that Te was overwhelmed by the fact that he might be overshadowed. And yeah, that's the thing that comes to mind in kasi, especially during the first episode, diba? Because if I may, it was the teacher that picked O to become Young Jian, diba? And then all looked at Te and sort of like was seeking his approval diba? Or asking for permission. And then Te provided that permission. So, you know, basically he took on the role and then Te helped him with his lines, et cetera, up until the very end, right? But then after the show was over, O, who had initially not shown any interest in anything, suddenly declared to Te that I actually enjoy this. And the teacher told me that if there's going to be another play next time, that she's going to ask me again, and I'm going to say yes. And then when Te heard that, he basically said something like, until you told that, well, when you said that to me, I now think that you've always wanted to take away the role from me or something like that. So that's when the sort of like the estrangement happened
Right,
because
the conflict.
right because Te started seeing. I don't know. He didn't see it in the proper way, I guess, because he really wanted the role, and O had initially said that he wasn't interested in anything, and then Tever basically said that, like, well, I didn't know that you were interested in acting. Why didn't you tell me before? And then O said something like, well, I didn't know that before. I'm telling you now because I only found out now, right? And then, okay, so you're trying to be my rival. You really wanted to take away the role from me. And he was like, well, I asked you for permission. And then there was like, um, oh no, O was like, I asked you permission, and you said yes. And O also said like, if you had gotten the role and I told you I wanted it, would you have given it to me? And then Ted couldn't answer because obviously he wouldn't have, because that was his dream role, right? And then later on in the episodes, we find out the reason why he wanted to be Young Jian so bad. But at that point in the first episode, that's when the the rift happened, diba? And then they see each other again after a while, and then this happened because the lower part of the picture, it basically happened because they found out who got in to the university by direct examination, the top 10, diba? So Te was included, but AO wasn't included. So he ran away, and then Te followed him, brought him his bags, and then they sort of like had a little, what do you call that? Um, what do you call that? My brain
Basta
is not
yun.
functioning now.
That's why we know the
Nagkaayos
scenes.
sila ng konti. Nagkaayos sila ng konti. Uy, sorry pag kinikwento ko ha. Sorry. I'm just,
Yeah, okay
going through
lang.
my...
It's okay.
Yun. O, sige kayo na. Yun.
Next photo na lang. Let's move
Hello,
on.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey!
Ayan, alright. So, baka may ma-miss out tayo dun sa photos kasi nag-skip tayo. Parang ang basis kasi ng photos would be like
Ah,
yung cinematography quality niya.
Mm.
So, in case man na
okay.
miss out tayo,
Yeah.
you can fill in na lang, like, kunwari sa
Oo, we
episode.
will.
Kasi like, ano lang eh, based on like how nice the photos or the cinematography was. Yes. Ayun. Alright. Yung next. Saan na ba? O, diba nahirapan na ako mag-shift to it. Saan na ba yun?
Second
Ayan.
photo, please. We have
Right.
21 to go. Okay.
Oh my
ito.
God.
Oh my God, that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Ang bilis ng time jump, ha?
Oo nga,
Oo
sabi
nga.
sa inyo eh.
Na ano rin ako na-disorient ako konti. Pero push.
Oo, push.
Wait.
Labas.
Loveship and Kiko have a comment about the story, So Kiko, he was so hurt when he lost a friend, a dear friend. Yeah, I think anyone would be, diba? And then si
naman.
Loveship, before that, I was mad at talaga in the beginning. Nakakagili isipin when it initiated the conflict. Yeah, okay. All right, this scene, guys. Kayo naman.
All I could remember was the breakdown. I think that is the first time I've seen someone really break down to a point that he couldn't move, that he had to call his brother to take him away from the place.
Yeah.
So it was that heavy of a breakdown. He was shattered. And grabe, sa gulayan pa talaga. In between the veggies, in between the greens, he was crying like hell. And I
What
liked how
happened?
I liked how they shot this actually. Then
Mhm.
I think he was crying out of frustration in a way, or he was crying na it was I think this was after the boat scene. He went with Onyu to the boat. Then I think it was that scene. Then that in your afternoon, that's where he left his bike by the boats and
Yeah.
actually picked up.
I think it was remember when they were swimming, and then they went back to the hammock, and then they had that conversation, and then he basically said, "Nah, it's just friends," and then
Yeah, oh nga. Wow. Hannah's memory is quick. Yeah, she said that it was after when Onyu said that they were no longer friends after they kissed.
yes,
Thanks, Hannah.
because the conversation because sorry, magkikwento ulit ako.
Go ahead,
Because what
Mikey.
because what happened was, remember, they had a very intimate moment. They basically kissed. They had a dark blue kiss moment, right? And then they go back to shore, and then basically O said, so what now? And then he said, what do you mean, what now? And O said, what about us? And he said, what about us? And then, what are we now? Parang ganun. And then basically he said, now, well, isn't it okay that we're just friends? And then OA was like, friends, do that? And he was like, well, I'm sorry. And he kept apologizing. He kept apologizing, probably because he didn't know what he was feeling, or he couldn't acknowledge or accept what he was feeling. And he even said to O that what he was feeling, he thought that eventually it would just go away. So basically, for him, it was just a phase, and he wasn't committing himself to O because he felt that it wasn't really what he was. Like it was just a phase or something like that. And then he said, aren't we okay to just be friends? Because parang, and then O said something like, no, let's stop being friends. You're no longer my friend. And that's why he started crying. Nakakainis. Um, siguro what I liked about this particular scene basically is that Hoon, his brother, is very supportive. He didn't
Yeah.
he didn't ask. He basically let him cry, and he didn't pry. Maybe because he felt that Te wasn't ready to share anything, diba? So parang just let him vent and everything. So I think for this particular photo, I appreciate really Hoon as the very supportive, very understanding older brother. Kasi he was there from the very beginning, di ba? Parang laging support, no questions asked. He doesn't even begrudge anything, no matter what he does. Di ba? Even when he didn't accept the confirmation, parang he didn't begrudge him na, I saved up for you, etc. No. For him, it's all just about supporting and giving. So I really appreciate Hon. I love the kuya. He did not have to speak, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm.
Mm. Pero
And
did you have
and
any those kinds of moments in your life na as in you cried like that someone had to rescue you from that situation?
Hmm. Ako no. I haven't pa. I haven't had this experience pa. I'm not I cannot say that I'm not looking forward to it, pero if it happens, it happens. I think if
Uh,
it will happen naman, um then it will happen. I mean, I cannot really say on
uh,
whether I will react the same way because I haven't been in that grave situation. Pero what I like about this particular scene talaga kasi we've been parang it's kasi has been consistent nga like what I've said earlier no, in terms of using color theories no. While watching it, it's medyo mas mahirap for me watching it na I am embracing the story and embracing the flow of the emotions of all the characters and let me be driven to where the story will unfold. And also look at it say in a creative eye in how they use the colors and how they use these angles and how they use the camera placement and whatnot. But also, for me personally, it has been consistent in using the color red in terms of expressing deep emotion, and with these particular scene, no, nakita natin na in this particular scene kasi naka red helmet si Kuya si Hoon, and pero in this particular scene also hindi siya nagsalita. I mean he did not just like what Mike mentioned, he did not cry, he needed not to say anything to his brother, pero you can all feel the brotherly love that he has for Te, na parang also with the same color theory that the way they use black in terms of explaining or like at least trying to explain that it signifies death, it signifies parang being broken. It signifies sadness, melancholy, and whatnot. And you can see that Tay is wearing a black helmet here. You know? So parang their head spaces, literally, their head spaces are in those two sets of emotions. So parang these color theories also helped us viewers in determining which parts of the story are we in already and which parang which perspective ba yung ginagamit ng characters in delivering the story. So I really like this scene. And also specifically, if you can look at the shirt of Te, that he is wearing a hibiscus shirt. So hibiscus, as we all know, has been very evident and
mhm.
very parang significant throughout all the five
Mm.
episodes of Let's Say. Parang whether it's purple or red, it's totally different. It has a totally different meaning, and whether um it will be worn, but it will be placed on the left chest with the purple. The purple hibiscus will be on the left chest. I mean, that's really an that's truly an art department right here, no, Maya. Parang it says already an art department on its own na parang the way they deliver these nuances and these parang analogies are so effective. So yeah. But for this particular scene, I really have to commend not only Te because but also more than Te is the brother. Na parang kasi we've seen scenes before this particular scene. Nakita natin na yung typical brother relationship na naiinis si Te nung matagal ibalik ni Kuya yung motor na gagamitin niya. Yung typical na
Mm.
relationship ng magkapatid. And hindi naman natin
Mm.
sila nakita na very close kasi even the scenes before this na nung sumabay siya pa uwi ng province nila is hindi ganun ka welcoming and accepting si Teo sa brother niya. Pero in this particular scene na si Teo mismo yung tumawag sa brother niya, parang it speaks volumes of how they treat each other as brothers. Na parang at the end of the day, kahit hindi kayo showy-showy ng kapatid mo, at the end of the day, you will really call onto your brother para in terms of when you're at when you're at your like downest moment, no. So parang yun. So I really like this particular scene in how it is parang and how it became a catalyst for making the story come in the full a full circle. Hindi siya full circle actually, pero to make the story come into parang the wholeness of the story is
Tradition.
yeah for this with this particular scene.
At saka nakakatuwa na yung red are like in the focal points of the scenes, like in critical elements that will draw your eyes into. So yeah. But siguro ako naman, I want to focus on the choice of characters. It's very interesting that they chose a brother to be like a pillar of comfort for the entire series. And it's actually very weird because you wouldn't expect that to begin with from this particular brother because he was so silent. And then coming into the last episodes, parang, oh my gosh, you will not expect that there will be so much emotions coming from him. And it's very unusual for that to come from a brother, older brother, siguro in most episodes. Kasi in a lot of BL series, most emotional supports or comforting characters would come in the form of a mom or a sister or a friend or a female neighbor. And it's very interesting for this to come in an older brother who is very silent to begin with. So I guess it really just adds more emotions to the scene, especially when you see them running to a brother who is so um, stagnant or so silent. And when he reciprocates for that matter, it really gives you like a pinch in the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since we're playing on hibiscus, because I know hibiscus in the Indian and Thai culture, it signifies two things. It's fleeting time or death, because it's usually given to Mahakali, the goddess of time and death. And it also means bad luck. So parang them wearing that, it means like their love could mean that it's bad luck to them. And it's also warning given to prisoners and immorality, adultery kumbaga. As a sign for a woman, if you're wearing the hibiscus, it could mean that you were immoral or that you showed signs of adultery. So parang them playing around with the hibiscus concepts. It's like their time is fleeting. They're playing around with the concepts of both. They were fighting against what society deemed as immoral, and during that time, they felt like their love was fleeting too. It was disappearing. I think in the future, I'm not sure if it's going to be shown in the clips, pero they assigned two different colors of hibiscus for O and Tarn, the girlfriend of the main lead dito.
Te.
I think the girlfriend had purple and O had red.
Yeah. So that's why
Kaya
if you
when,
can remember yung nagko-color if when Tarn asked Te to color the hibiscus she drawn, no. So she was really looking forward to tell choosing the purple color for
Yeah.
the hibiscus, no? Kasi
Mm-mm.
yun yung color niya eh. I mean, ang tuso man pakinggan. Pero yun yung color ng bra niya nung nakita ni Te.
Very
So,
true.
di ba? It's true though. But the red hibiscus is also parang nakita natin siya as a color of nung when they were like at the beach, 'di ba? One of the most pivotal scenes yung nasa beach sila and they were at the hammock and they were both
Was that
wearing
hibiscus?
or donning the red hibiscus sa ano
I
tawag
thought
dito?
it was a gumamela. Sorry.
Di ba hibiscus din yung gumamela?
Is it ba?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oo. And the beauty of the gumamela or the hibiscus then it can self-pollinate, so it's a good significant. It also relates to them na they're neither man nor woman. They could be
Mhm.
both. They embody both the duality of the spirit.
Yeah. But
Mm.
also hibiscus have shorter lifespan. So you can
Yes.
say we can all say or at least ako personally parang it signifies parang the short termness of their love lives pa for this particular season. I'm hoping for a season 2. I think meron. Pero
There is. It's to
There
be
is,
March
diba? There is one confirmed.
11, 2021. According to the last scene.
Or delayed yung yung shooting nila because of the pandemic. May mga restrictions sa
Yeah.
sa resort eh. So dapat
mm,
of February.
Totoo ba?
February. Seryoso, oo.
Okay. Ikal ko lang.
Yeah. Seryoso talaga ako. Oo, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
it was supposed to be shot this coming February. Mamumove siya eh. Indefinite date, yes.
Okay.
Next
Yun.
photo na tayo.
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh
Gusto ko
my
na
god.
This is the thing, no? Parang si OL, usually red yung associated color ko sa kanya. Because,
Mm,
first and
mm.
foremost, the first time we see him, he's wearing a red colored jacket, diba? And then, his phone casing is red, and then his one-eyed monster. Or parang his plushie is red, and then the bra that he used was red. So parang I always associate red with him. And I guess it's very appropriate for the hibiscus, diba?
Yeah, and you can see
So,
now here Te is wearing some crimsonish shirt, no? So hindi na siya nag-blue. I mean, he used to wear blue. Like I mean, the uniform,
yes,
the uniform
usually.
at that time was blue. And when I saw this particular scene and like red, siya, I was like, oh my god, it's pivotal. I mean, the emotions of the characters are like physically manifesting through the lenses, no. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
really like this scene.
And he's still wearing the black helmet, no? And
Yeah.
what I like about this scene too, parang he was letting Owen his life na rin. He was letting him take command, especially when he was driving the scooter, the motor. So it's like,
Mhm.
parang I'll ride with you. Your hands are on my life. Parang I'm leaving my life in your hands. Parang ganun yung message na nag-evoke sa akin. When he allowed that to
Take the
happen.
wheel.
Kasi with I think Te has a tendency to be a control freak somehow. He wants command of what's happening in his life, and him relinquishing that and giving it to parang that
Yeah.
means big.
Mm.
Correct. And hindi ka ba naman talaga mag-expect dito sa treatment na to, di ba?
True.
Sobrang sweet kasi
Yes.
talaga nila, and the way they treated him as well, I think will really make you confused. And I guess that's also one of the key messages or themes throughout the show. It's like that tension or like the confusion between the two, which really puts you throughout a roller coaster of emotions. Pero grabe, kikiligin ka naman talaga with Bilkin as Te, especially with this treatment for that matter.
And I
Yeah.
think this is one of those moments na parang masaya sila, di ba? This was sort of like the calm before the storm.
Oo,
So,
di ba? Nakakainis. Na parang they're so happy and then all of a sudden they'll get confused and then they'll fight and then they'll become rivals again and then they'll
I
make
know.
up and then they'll be happy again. Oh my gosh. The confusion was
I
really
think
driving
this
me
was
nervous.
I think this was after when OL told him, Ate, about his promise to run to prom tap Cape, right? And then I think they ran either before or after this. So it was a happy time for them, and that's when they made a promise that they will do it again once they both get into university. Sort of like a as a promise for a wish fulfilled. No, yeah.
Yes.
So
Oh,
happy times before the storm.
right.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
speaking
think
of, go, Maki.
I just want to say that I think it's a promise to their friendship. No? It's parang it solidifies their their friendship and how they're attached to their connection. Pero also you can see here, no, di ba ayaw na ayaw ni O ng coconut, and then
Oo,
It was
yes.
he's
it was
being
it was te
yeah,
na ayaw.
I
Na
see
Si
it's
coconut.
Te,
yeah,
si
si Te,
Te. Si
ayaw
Te
niya ng
yung may
coconut.
ayaw.
Uh-uh.
So he's the way that he's like holding the coconut here, and parang it's symbolic in a way na it's different kasi when you it's different when you start to be vulnerable, and it's also different when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. So I think uh in this particular scene nakita natin na he is now parang starting to be vulnerable and allowing himself to be vulnerable as well. So uh, yeah, there's so many emotions with this scene.
Yeah. I still want to know how they do that in Thailand. How do they drink a buko? I want to do how do they balance all of that?
Gusto ko yan. Mga Thai kasi yan eh. Uy, pero ano, just to share siguro a bit, you made mention of Storm eh. I think I did watch one of the documentaries ng director, and he said that having it shot in Phuket is purposive because the weather in Phuket is unpredictable and uncertain. So with all these symbolisms of the gumamelid, the hibiscus, and the weather in Phuket, everything is really like, put into place. Eh. Meron siyang purpose and reason kung bakit siya nilagay din. Parang ganun yung sinasabi dun sa documentary. Yun lang, bye-bye.
Yes.
That's
Bye bye.
very
Next next photo please. Ganun.
Next photo.
Ako sana ito na ba yung storm? Ay hindi pa pala. This is when they
Oh
Oh my
started
gosh.
singing to each other
Oh, no,
the
that's
the
right.
Chinese theme song.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the first time I heard Bilkin sing. Oh my gosh, I really got hooked to his voice after, and I didn't realize that he was a singer pala of the soundtrack. So it made me listen to his album on Spotify. And oh my gosh, I am now super hooked. Like I play his songs like round the clock. Uh,
oh wow.
Wow.
Hmm.
Pero what's his real genre? Does he sing the same way with his other songs?
yes, as in very slow yung songs niya, and sometimes he also gets invited to sing with orchestras in Thailand.
yeah.
Tapos but what I noticed, iba yung quality ng voices are recorded versus in the movies, in the series. Like in the series, parang mas may, what do you call that, the vibrato, or like the nginig at the end, which is less in the actual recordings of the song. But either way, it's still nice. And my gosh, it really just like brings you up in the air.
Diba? Shout out naman sa ano, sa pa-dimples ni Bill Kinshan. Diba? Gusto mo yun?
I
Oh.
know.
Sure lang.
Oo.
Narinig niyo ba yung music? Yun yung song, it's like,
Yes.
it's Skyline. Diba?
Yeah,
That's it. Tama ba?
Yeah.
Skyline.
Yes, ayan.
Yes.
Yun. Humingi talaga ako ng permission dito sa tumugtog nito para di na tayo
Ay,
mabeng. Sure.
wow. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
I
Pero,
think it's oh go ahead.
ikaw muna, Mikey.
I was gonna say I think this is also the time where we find out more about Bilkin about
Billiken.
I think
Bilkin. Hi, Bilkin.
this is the time that he sort of like gave us an idea of why he acted the way that he acted before. Kasi parang nakwento niya dito, or he shared that ever since he was a kid, he's always felt very inferior to his brother, diba? Because his brother was
Mhm.
always good, and his mother was always praising Hoon, and everything that he could do, Hoon could do better, diba? And then at one time that Hoon brought home a girlfriend, she was very happy, etc. Diba? So parang he never felt validated, but one time his mom watched Yongjian, and then she said that Te looked very much like him. So he decided then and there that for his mom to be proud of him, that he wanted to pursue an acting career because he wanted to play the part of Yongja. And that's why he wanted to get into the school that he chose, Anantasar. And then that's why he wanted the role in the school play. And that's why he felt really bad when OL got the role, and then he would be getting the role again in the next play because he wanted to prove himself to his mom. He wanted to gain her approval. And he wasn't able to do that because OL stole the role from him. So that's it. Here, I sort of like gained a better understanding of Tess' mind and what he was going through and what he was feeling. Yun. And I think OL also mentioned in turn that he wanted to thank Te because if he hadn't said what he said, then he wouldn't have sort of like pushed himself to be a better person or to be a better actor as well. So all around. And then I think this is when they really, really, really connected, di ba? Kasi after this, they went back home. And then, yeah, stuff like that happened.
Yes. It was all love, love with their red team outfits during that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the cinematography wise, and I like how they played with that. And with I know they added some filler lighting because it felt unnatural. Some felt alam kong some of the lights were unnatural, pero it still fit. At least it's not so bright na you'd know it's fake lighting. So it still looks like it came from the sun. Yun lang. Kasi there's some who do that and you know na, oh, parang you just put a lamppost beside that and you know it's fake. But this, it gives you the same feel wherein it's still coming from the sun. It still has that orangey feel pa rin. Yun lang. And I want to go to that cove someday. Hopefully I get there.
Yeah.
Maybe in the next picture may cove.
Oo. Ano ba next picture natin? Ay, nako, ito.
Ayan na. Ayan na.
Ito na ang cove.
Grabe.
Welcome to the cove.
Speaking of tension.
Still ni Bill dito.
Wait, one thing that I liked about this scene was when they were getting a little bit closer. Tuti was there, the dog. He was like watching them. And then in a previous scene, when they were becoming chummy, parang Tuti was sort of like, di ba, parang he was complaining or he was barking. But here in this scene, he was watching them in the beginning, but then walked away. So that's why I guess parang may permission from the dog na okay, do whatever you guys want. I don't care anymore. Yo.
Yeah. Parang kasi diba dogs are most likely like territorial. So
Yeah.
the dogs, diba, since it's Tess pet, no? So territorial siya noong una, diba? Na napanood natin in the first few scenes of the previous episodes na nagagalit siya kapag lumalapit si Okete. Pero in this particular scene, no, nung parang nag-open up, pati yung dog, di ba? Like, oh my God, sobrang ganda ng series na pati yung dog may character development. Hindi
Diba?
lahat kaya gawin yun.
Yes.
Like, fully fleshed out yung character, even the dog. And also, I have to say, for its sake then, the character of Tarn, although she is parang they still went on with the trope of having the female character na parang medyo papagitna ng konti somehow, at least sa two main leads natin. Pero with Itse kasi fully fleshed out din yung character ni Tarn, if you can guys remember. She has her own ambition, she has her own aspirations in life, which she will eventually nakuha din naman niya in the end. Yun. So I really have to commend Itse for these very small details na it makes each scene and each script intentional in terms of this scene, no. Parang sobrang intentional din nung, kasi if you guys can remember nung una when they were watching, I don't know what are they watching, film or
And then they're watching yung Chinese movie na gusto nila or yung series na gusto nila.
Nung, di ba, nung parang they were real, at first they were parang at the two ends of the sofa, and then they were slowly and gradually moving closer to each other. Like, oh my God, it's I cannot say naman na I've experienced the same thing, pero it's relatable. Na parang, if have you ever been in that same awkward situation? Not literally, pero have you ever been in that same awkward situation na you would want to like move then closer and closer to that person. So parang for this particular scene, no, it's a manifestation of them parang being and allowing themselves to be vulnerable for each other, 'di ba? And
Mm.
grabe yung pisel, I'm like, "Oh my God, tingnan mo naman yung balat ni Pipi dito." Like nasa-stretch na yung malala. Oh my God, nasasaktan na. Masahe ata 'to.
Hard massage po.
Kasi sore daw yung legs nila from running. So, yeah.
Grabe, no?
Yeah.
Oo,
And
pero
siguro I just want to add on the parang importance of body language in the story. Yun nga, kasi nga there are a lot of moments full of tension, and they also use body language in parang showing the obscure love between the characters. Like they mentioned the touching of the knees is actually a sign of being attracted to another person. So for some people, I guess body language is really important in conveying emotions, and I guess the same is applicable for the show as well.
Mhm.
mhm. Pero I like the symmetry talaga ng body language nila dun. Even the whole scene, it was
Yeah,
orchestrated really well. From the
yeah,
panning to how it was staying there. Ang galing.
yeah.
You could
And
feel, sabi nga nila, it was really intense, and you could feel the tension build up, rising as the music was rising together with them.
yeah. And together with the tension, no, I think it also help if you can peer through the window, no. Yung kapitbahay kasi na bukas yung sorry, sobrang ganun ako mag-isip kapag sobrang critical kong manood. Yung kapitbahay nila bukas yung ilaw. So I think for me, it somehow signifies and symbolizes na pwede silang makita ng mga tao sa labas. And
Mhm.
they parang at they were shy, of course, it's very understandable. Pero they were having their own moment then na um while there are eyes piercing through their window na pwede silang makita at mahusgahan. Pero they were doing what they are doing. So na lang, it adds to the whole feel of this particular scene. So yung tensive feeling is hindi lang nakikita through the characters, their impeccable acting, but also not only for the set, no, pero with yun nga yung sabi ko kanina, yung mga minute details na it made it intentional, so hindi alam mo yun, hindi nakaligtaan kasi there are a lot of series, Thai series even, na madami nakakaligtaan na mga details na effective sana na makapag-deliver ng story. And it's wala silang sinayang. Sobrang wala silang sinayang kung paano nila igagamitin yung mga every inch of the frame in delivering the message and the story.
Next scene, please.
Mm.
Ay,
Mhm.
ay.
The
This
girlfriend.
Sobrang awkward nitong
conversation.
scene na to.
That's on me.
Oo nga.
Mm. So yan na yung signature colors nila, di ba? Blue at saka red.
Mm. Yun na yun. But yeah, we felt the awkwardness. Pati if you could see also how everything was so dark when that scene was happening then. So parang it was playing na it's gonna be a dark undertown, everything's gonna be clouded, everything's gonna be having that same shaded atmosphere with this scene. Pero it shows a different part. At least this scene, you would see ano talaga yung what was going through the minds of the family around it. Like, what was the mother like? Kaya baka ganun si Te. Parang what was the society thinking of during their time? Or what was the setting like? Kasi if you put up a setting, like for example, I was just thinking out loud na if you built your society based like on the fluffiness of boys lockdown, you won't have this scene. Pero with having these kinds of families situations wherein you get to see the capsule society, what they think and what they feel like, parang it builds more to the story.
Yeah. The story is fully realized then kasi with having these scenes, no. So while we also enjoyed them and the fluffiness nga of Boys Lockdown and the other series that are alike, pero these types of scenes in a non-fluffy series kasi is very ano, it's a very important and significant part of delivering the story. I think
Mm.
kasi for this, no, you can see that they are looking he's looking at the mother na parang I don't know, siguro na he is just parang tinitimpla on how he
Mm.
would react if ever that they would be together, no? Parang and there and you can also ano, you can also on the other side na they're eating their comfort food. Hokkien mee. I mean, it's
Mm.
supposed to be a happy dinner kasi yun yung comfort food nilang lahat. They've all had their own experiences while having that comfort dish. And in
Yeah.
this scene, while they're having their comfort dish, this scene is not comfortable for the characters. So it's somehow polar and parallel at the same time.
Mhm.
So I think this scene, together with all the other scenes, is a is so poetic na parang it's indirect but it's direct at the same time.
This is the day after that night that they spent together, di ba? So it
Mm.
was ano parang the morning. Tapos dumating si Hyun and then yung girlfriend niya, Nozomi, is somewhere there beside him. And the mom was asking, the mom asked Nozomi what you liked about my son. And then, of course, she said na Hoon is very kind. He's very he doesn't expect me to be anyone else. Parang he's treating me the same ever since I met him, and he's a good friend and a boyfriend. And then the mom, of course, turns to the two and then tells Te, "Oy, ikaw, pag may girlfriend ka na, bring her here, etc." And then, of course, that's very awkward for Te because OL is right there, diba? And then she also made it awkward for OL by her asking him to tell her when Tarn and Te are already together. So alam mo
Yeah.
yun. And the fact na something happened the night before, that very intimate hugging scene and the rubbing scene. So
Yeah.
parang, which again was unconsummated. So OL is feeling a little bit frustrated from that, and also now very awkward because he was put in a position wherein he is reminded that he is not the one that Te is currently seeing. So alam mo yun, parang ay, I really feel for OL here. No? Parang almost at every turn, parang he gets the short end of the stick. He's always the one
Yeah.
who's adjusting. He's always the one who is understanding. He's always the one who compromises his himself for Te. So yeah,
Next.
there you go. The night
Oh.
before.
Ay,
The
ito
night
na yung may
before.
pakamot. With the
By the way,
scratching and all that. Hi.
the white shirt says sunset, and then the black shirt tells I told Sunset about you over
Yeah,
here. So
my
those are
merch. I
actually
love my merch.
Yes.
yun actually they're wearing the merch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really?
Yes. They're wearing the merch in this
Ooh.
scene. So yeah, this is the unconsummated thing that I was talking about.
Yep.
Oh, I liked here you know how the series uses the Chinese because it's basically about them learning Chinese to get into school, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I like how they use the language, the Chinese language, and then Chinese words to sort of like evoke a feeling or to tell us something. And they also use it in the narrative. So in this particular case,
Mm-hmm.
remember they had just watched Yongjan, the Chinese movie or series or whatever, and then Te had written down male protagonist, which is Nun Ju Jue or something like that, right? And then he kept writing it over and over. And then I was wondering about that. Why do you keep writing it? And then Te didn't respond. But what I feel like is parang Te is again very confused. So he considers himself as a male protagonist, but at the same time, he's falling in love with a guy. So he was, in a way, sort of like trying to remind himself or trying to find a reason to remain as a male protagonist. So
Yeah.
OL, very brilliant here in this case, he asked, well, can there be a female protagonist? And then, of course, the answer was yes. And then he wrote down female protagonist. Okay, and then he sort of like asked Te, what about two male protagonists? Can that happen? Is that possible? So he was basically asking Te, is it possible for two guys to love each other?
Yeah.
So alam mo yun, parang the way that they use words, that's one of the things that I really, really like about this series. Is that, for example, when OL started realizing he had feelings for Te, apart from Bass, he was sitting in between them, and then he was like looking at each, and then he started writing down the word secret, the Chinese word for secret. You know, yung mga ganung bagay. Or in the
Uh-oh.
beginning, in the first episode, I think, the word that Peck kept writing over and over again was rival because that's how he viewed all. But then at the end part of that scene or that episode, the word, I think the page flipped, and then the page that showed was a page that had intimate, the Chinese word intimate
Yeah.
written all over the page. So the way that they use those words, and I know there are other examples in the series as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the
One
way
of
that they
them
use
is
it, very good.
the flashcards too. The flashcards that they show, those red flashcards, they tie in very well with the story. It's like what is the
Yeah,
emotion they're evoking are the same emotions that are being repeated in the
right.
flashcards.
Very true. Yeah. So I really, really like that about that.
Because we can also see in this particular scene na they somehow started to to parang take it to another level in terms of intimacy. Pero you can still see through their eyes there are hesitations na kung itutuloy ba nila itong scene na to. Pero eventually nakita niya natin na meron na mas nanaeg siguro yung hesitations in especially in the part of Te, no, na parang ano kasi it's hindi pa hindi, I mean at if I will look at it shallowly, nainis ako kay Te. I mean, why don't you parang it's easy for
Yes.
us kasi to say na why don't you just embrace
Yes.
yourself, why don't you just parang to let your guards down. Why don't you just be more open? It's easy for us to say that because we are not in the same shoes and the same clothes and same shirt
Mm-hmm.
even as they, no? Parang it's easy for us to say na these things are parang supposed to be automatic, na parang it's we're supposed to be vulnerable to our own emotions. Pero if you look at it in the perspective of Te, everything is new to him, no? Parang we can all see na what he's experiencing and what he's feeling is not probably not the same as what he's used to feel and towards Tarn or maybe in the others kung meron mang past. And having his parang kasi if you can see na parang ano siya uh was his best friend, no? In when childhood friend even. So when um nagkaroon ng shift yung relationship nila. So for there, I think for me at least nung pinapanood ko yung series, na nakikita ko na parang I cannot even imagine what's going through his mind and his heart. Na parang what is he supposed to feel? Na parang will he be as vulnerable in terms of romantic affiliation towards O? Pero kasi yung consciousness niya and yung what do you call this? Yung relationship nila ni O was he was a best friend and eventually naging best friend. Parang nearer best friend niya kasi siya. So parang mahirap in Te's perspective kung saan siya lulugar. So I really understand where and what he is going through and where he's coming from. Pero shallowly it's such a dick move naman. Parang
Yeah, I
pero
understand.
but
It
also on the
is.
other side, I cannot call him out for it. I mean, he's not entirely at fault, no. Kasi parang ano siya parang hindi sila nagtutugma in terms of the level of willingness to be more open and vulnerable with each other and more importantly with other people. Kasi siguro kasi we haven't seen much of the family of O kung ano ba yung level ng acceptance ng family sa sexuality ni O or like is he even out, hindi siya ganun na tackle masyado compared to the family of Te. So we don't have that much parang perspective kung ano bang kung saan ba nanggagaling si O kung bakit siya mas open compared to Te. Pero with O and Te alone, parang if O and Te are alone, they can be as vulnerable as they can. If you can remember the scene under the stairs when Te visited the resort, 'di ba? They parang somehow a happy scene. Sorry, hindi kasi yun yung pinapakita dito, pero it's somehow a happy scene na they started to show signs of vulnerability towards each other and just embrace each other literally and figuratively. But it's also somehow sad that they had to hide under the stairs to do that, to
Yes.
to not have parang eyes piercing and peering through sa kanila, no? Parang yun, parang everything is parallel and everything is polar. In this particular scene, them wearing black and white, you can see how light it is in the feeling of awe na gusto niya yung nangyayari, gusto niyang may mangyari pa, gusto niya mag-progress yung level of intimacy, but Te is not there yet. I mean, I think ako personally nung pinapanood ko siya, I think he tried to be there, pero mas napangunahan pa rin kasi siya nung upbringing, nung I don't know, maybe judgment and prejudice, external factors and forces on why he was so reluctant and why he did what he did. So I can sa haba-haba na sinabi ko, sinasabi ko lang naman, naiintindihan ko si O, naiintindihan ko si Te. Okay, thank you.
I agree, Maki. Kasi, and I think you answered the main reason why sabi ko, on a superficial level, kasi I was thinking about it before then, parang, why did I hate Tess so much? I think it was this scene where he played that deck move card. And kasi, with all the Thai BLs, we're not used to seeing the struggle in the head of a person, wherein I'm battling between should I date that person because society doesn't want me to, or will I go to society and say I should date a woman? We don't see we don't see the internal struggle of a person. We just see it. We only see the aftermath when he decided already na okay, I'll go for this. I'll kiss the guy. Parang ganon. But for this scene, kaya siya it's unique. I think Ella was saying this is a unique scene kasi we see that internal struggle manifesting physically. It's shown visually. It's shown in the sway nilang back and forth when they were doing that action together. It is shown in the play of the darkness wherein Te was shadowed while O was innocent and white and pure. So, yun lang. I think that was why it says really good kasi they're bringing out the internal struggles that you only see in people's heads and to turn it into visual representations, into movement, into art, into cinematography, into color, into shadows and lights.
Wait, can I say something? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
trivia na lang i-share ko dito. So from the documentary, this wasn't supposed to be the scene. Hindi dapat ganyan yung cinematography niya. Kasi narinig natin yung motor, no? Naalala ko kasi, narinig ko yung motor somewhere sa inyo. So, naka-close talaga yung windows dyan kasi naririnig yung motor dyan. So, sinarado yan originally and they were facing the camera. Yun yung original shot niyan. And when they saw ang pangit ng pagkakakuha, so binago ng director. And then they opened the windows, tapos inedit na lang yung audio niya. Kahit narinig na yung mga motor, so parang nag-VO na lang. Tama ba ako? Nag-dub na lang sila dyan. And then nakatalikod siya. It's purposive na nakatalikod siya because supposedly siya tight shot yan eh. Hindi dapat kita yung window. But the director wanted to show the window to show off some sort of like a breathing space sort of that they're actually talking. And then the window also signifies it's not really a full open door. It's a window because it's kind of half open. Parang yun yung sinasabi niya. So yun. Trivia lang. Char.
For that, next photo. Ganun.
Si Maya na ba? Nagsalita na ba si
Si
Maya?
Maya.
In the is this the scene also where they kind of semi spooned each other and then they just smelled the
Yes.
back and the hair of of OL. Super nag-ano lang sa akin, nag-stick sa akin yun kasi it shows how the power of smell really like reminds you of someone, and in this case it's the scent of the coconut. And di ba minsan we also kind of feel that in our lives, like someone who's lost for a long time gets reminded again, especially when you smell a similar scent, like you smell his cologne or you smell like his pen, diba?
Yeah.
And it just gives you a lot of feels again.
Yes. Wait,
Yes.
by the way, before we move to the next photo, it may seem like we're jumping off from one scene to another, medyo kind of like magulo siya or whatnot. But we're looking at the cinematography kasi. So later on, para we can cap off na lang everything and we can do our review and we can come up
Mm.
with our own summary na lang, or I don't know, para we can really put all the story together and even the episodes. If you'd like to share more about the series. Ayan. Next photo. Ayan.
Next photo is that scene you were talking about with the hibiscus flower. I'll
Yeah,
draw a
the
hibiscus
render.
flower,
Oh
color it.
yeah. Mm-mm.
and and this was
Then a
purposely pa.
murder.
I like that yung position ni Tarn was yung ganon. Kasi I think she
Yeah.
was purposely saying, ito yung kulay ko, ho, tignan mo. Parang ganon.
Yeah.
I
So,
think she was wearing the
see
same
me.
same bra.
Yeah, she was. Kasi I
Yeah.
remember that scene perfectly. Parang she was saying, see me, please confirm that you still see me. And ganun yung drama nun. And I remember seeing a headshot of that too. It was parang ang ganda ng scene with all the grass, with all the brightness, but
Mhm.
with all that contrast. It contrasts with the emotion that brought in that scene. Na despite she was hoping, she felt her heart break when she saw the colors that came out of his pencil. Parang ganun.
Correct. And
Well,
as much
well,
as
okay,
go
go Maya.
go.
I'm jumping to another. Hindi naman siya. It's still in this scene. Pero yung if you guys
Mm.
can remember, when dissatisfied si Tarn sa outcome ng kanyang mini social experiment. Um,
Yeah.
yung ano, yung tumayo, yung pinaalis niya si Te, and Te was really hesitant to whether he will go or will he stay and whatnot. Tas eventually, di ba dumapa na lang siya dun sa grass. So
Mm.
parang it's so symbolic for me for reasons, the same reasons I've said earlier. Okay, go Maya.
And this scene also just makes you sympathize with Tarn as well, as much as you kind of sympathize with OL with the confusion that he's feeling. At the same time, the same is the case for Tarn. So parang it's also really difficult. It makes it more difficult for the viewer to take sides, and it's really not something that you're supposed to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yes. How about you, Mikey?
Um, I like Tarn's character actually. I mean, she's very straightforward. She knows what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
She's very honest, and I like that she's also very determined, diba? And that's why Te liked her in the first place. He even told OAO like it's like I'm surrounded by the same energy when I'm around her, diba? Because they both have a goal and they really wanna reach for it. So yun, I mean that's basically it for me. For this particular scene, you guys already said it.
Mika, you're on mute.
You clear and mute.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. But what do you think about her character? Kasi if we try to go back to the other Thai BLs that we've seen before, diba? What do you think about her character here?
I like her character. Like I
Yeah,
really, really like her character. I mean, in all of the conversations that she's had with Te,
right?
Yeah.
and well, there's one that particularly when she found out that he had given up his spot for OL, and they had a confrontation at the restaurant. So she basically said, na parang, "Hey, I mean, I don't care if you've hurt me. I just want to make sure that
Yes.
Yes.
Mikey.
We haven't heard
Buko.
Mikey.
If we haven't heard Mikey, Buko Wi-Fi is real. Oh, ew. Come on, bring
Oh,
back the coconut.
ako rin eh. Medyo mabagal din yung internet tonight.
Yeah,
So
pero to,
sorry.
na,
Ano, gumagalaw na si
he's
Mikey.
coming back na.
Mikey?
And it's
Mikey
all coming
came
back.
back.
Hello?
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
what happened? Okay, akala ko like
Ay,
Hindi,
ano,
si
ano?
Mikey,
like
si Mikey yun. And
network frozen as well.
Mikey's refreshing. Pero,
Yeah,
on
go.
Tarn, I was scared na rin kasi she was giving off, the first few scenes, she was giving off like, could she be another GL trope? Yung mga GL girlfriend trope?
Right.
Kasi she was sensing that, but once you get past a few episodes where you see her, parang you sympathize with her in a way.
Right.
Parang, the more you sympathize with the character, parang, oh, she's no longer a trope. She is real. She's a person. She's in love.
True.
She just wants her man to be in love, to see her kumbaga as who she is. And I like her determination of what she wants. Parang sabi nga ni Mikey kanina, parang, in all honesty, parang, when I was watching that, parang, girl, you deserve another man than him. Parang ganun. Because I wanted her to have a steadier, stronger man who would fight for her, kumbaga, for some reason. Or who could at least battle head on with her, who had the same drive and goal as she has. Kasi the other one, Tess character was unstable. He was in the dark. He was lost still. And she was still hanging on to that. And nakakainis lang. What I found nakakainis lang kasi the two people who are falling for this shaded character or this character who is lost are two people who are strong characters who are ready to give in to what, parang ready to give their all for that. Kaya I think that was the main reason why sabi ko, this, I remember Nico, we had a conversation na sabi ko, I didn't like Te because he
Yeah.
was that kind of person. He
Right,
reminded
right.
me of that kind of person. Naawala ako sa dalawang characters na nakasabit sa.
True, true. Pero Lance, ano, maganda yung sinabi. Adding to what you said, siguro I said this before then. I think we had the session with Jude. Diba we were with Maring Reka then at that time. Quick
Yeah.
conversation lang about it. I like her character because she was able to communicate her needs as the person, the character. Parang it
Mhm.
wasn't really, kumbaga pag kinumpare mo yung ibang characters in some Thai BLs, parang ano ba, for the lack of term, parang manufactured masyadong
Mhm.
nagupit in such a way. Ito kasi parang I felt her, I felt sympathize with her, I empathize with her actually. Because
Uh-huh.
she just needs a man, that's it. Hindi nga siya nagmamaldita at all or nagwo-warla-warla dyan na parang akin tong jowa ko, walang ganong eksena eh. She was just crying na parang, what, tell me, do you love me? I love you. Di ba, ganun eh, di ba? So I really felt the character. I super like her here. Gusto ko yung character niya dito. You.
Same.
Correct. And you also couldn't blame Tarn kasi she was also made to expect or fall into like a relationship hole kasi Te was pursuing her for like years ever since they were classmates. So I mean if you were in Tarn's position, if someone pursues you for that long, of course it will make you expect at some point, or if not, if you would drag it that long without really busting the other person, of course, you know it will lead to something. And then for that person to just fall out halfway. Di ba? Parang, my God, nakakainis. Yung mga person talaga na nagpo-fall out. Charot.
Yeah, very true.
Mhm.
I like Tarn's character kasi I said it earlier then somehow na she is not pre-manufactured niya. Hindi siya preset, hindi siya pre-programmed just like the other third party girl characters and the other BLs, Thai, Filipino or even Korean or Japanese BLs. Pero kasi Tarn's character is fully fleshed out eh. She has her own aspirations and ambitions just like what Nika mentioned earlier. Pero she's also ano eh, she she she's a well-rounded, if I can to say the least. Na parang not only does she know what she wants, pero kasi she's also a character. I mean, she is a character. Hindi siya side character lang to propel the love story of O and Te. or in a general term, no, to propel the love story of the two male leads, no. Pero she with it's like kasi she is part of the story. I mean, hindi siya afterthought lang na para lang, hindi siya cause of conflict lang. I mean, she's
Mm.
really a well thought of character, and
Right, right.
characterization of even the actress, even her characterization is far from the usual BL series na napanood natin na very problematic. I mean,
Yeah.
she she kind of looks the same. I mean, not to be not hindi naman sa
Yeah.
pero yeah, she has the same ano eh, she has the same parang visual recall of how you would see Plern playing and how you would see the other girl characters in other BL series, no. Pero I think it also helped in parang in surprising us na parang this is the pre-manufactured look that you're all accustomed to when you're watching Thai BLs, but we will give you another side of a female character in a Thai BL. So parang it helped in not only giving us the surprising or the wow factor with that angle of the story or that angle of the series, no. Pero yun, it's she's ano, she's I like her character here. Although
Mm.
not all the time. Siguro ako din, I
Yeah.
have this prejudice din. Not all the time I liked her character. Pero I would still understand her. Is if you can remember, there was this scene na yung nagtago sila sa loob ng bahay ni na nung nagse-celebrate yung buong family sa restaurant, and then nagsigawan sila sa loob ng bahay. Yun, meron akong mga hindi, parang ano ba naman to? Why is she being like this? Pero come to think of it, I also understand her because parang she, I don't know if it's the right term, but parang was she led on by Te, parang having being pursued for years and years, just like what Maya said, and then eventually biglang ika-cut short
Bibitaw.
ng wala pang confirmation. I mean, she's not even answering yet. Pero parang it's hard kasi it's parang it's hard to answer when you don't know if the question is still there. I mean, you Tarn is also questioning if was the question still valid? Like, does it still stand? Like, is the question still the same? Like, diba? So parang in her headspace, I cannot imagine how how she is experiencing or feeling when she sees Te. Na parang, is this the same Te that I've known all these years? And eventually, this particular scene somehow medyo what do you call this na na come into na concretize, for the lack of a better term, na hindi na yun yung same Te na nakilala niya, and eventually nakita naman natin kung paano nag-unfold itong decision na to.
Yeah. I was just
Yes.
really happy na she wasn't just a plot device for a man's identity crisis.
Right, right.
She was a multifaceted person.
Yes. Next scene na ba tayo?
Yes. Nakailan na ba tayo, Nico?
I think we're down to 10 more.
Oh,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last 10.
Aabot
Ito
tayo
na
ng
nga.
birthday ko nito.
Ay, clip to. Ayun na yung gumamela.
Gumagalaw.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
gumagalaw
Yeah.
siya.
Alright.
Gusto ko lang yung
Pero
transition voice ni
na-weirdohan
Nico
lang
na
ako do.
husky. Yung yes. Very bedroom voice ni Nico.
Yeah.
Yes. Oo.
Yes. Yes. Pero, ito na. Yung symbolism ng gumamela, yung mga pa-outfit natin ngayon
Yeah.
na Hawaiian.
I think you made mention of this a while ago naman. No?
Yeah, we did. Pero,
Yeah. Ako
would
din.
you put a gumamela flower just like yung ganong move? Yun doon ako nag-iisip ng with the choreography.
Ay, ako sa other side.
Right.
Yeah.
Siguro it's also for ano din, for to have that, rest. Kasi nag-rest ng konti sa head ay sa hand yung head So for that, yun yung, pero nakita ko na lang yun ngayon actually, sorry. Kasi nung pinapanood ko siya, hindi ko siya masyado napansin. Na
Okay.
ganito yung ano.
Na ganun
Pero
pagkakalagay niya.
yeah, mas naging concern ko is he is allowing to put the gumamela sa tenga niya. Kasi 'di ba, it's a girly thing, quote unquote, to do. And Te is not yet sure if whether um he is parang like homosexual. Parang he's still in this identity crisis. Eh. So parang with this scene, although we mentioned it already, ano lang, parang he's being open and vulnerable, and if you can see yung warmth is there. I mean, there's no tinge of like a blue tone or undertone dito sa color
Yeah.
grading and color theory nito. So parang they're just being warm with each other, and lala, I like this scene.
Do you have anything
And
more to
you
add?
guys like it too. Ako wala naman ako.
Oh, it's cute. But it's a cute scene. Pero, yeah, it's nice. Pero may mga ibang scenes pa ako, I guess, na mas gusto.
Go.
Hindi talaga it
Yes.
specifically. But it's nice. Maganda yung pagkakakuha niya. Yun lang.
It
But it's,
builds up to a
yeah,
bigger scene, I think. Yeah.
true, true,
Yeah, I
true.
think to that hammock scene,
Yes. True, true.
Yes.
which was
Um,
more powerful for me.
Yes.
right. Parang ito yung parang preview eh. Kasi
Yeah.
Mm.
here,
Teaser,
parang ano
yeah.
eh, just, yeah, it was basically just him, OL asked, uh, no, it was Teo asked OL if he liked somebody else. And he said, yeah, I think you know, but I think you don't, but I think you do. You really don't, but I think you do. And then that's where the scene ended.
Yeah.
Yes. So what's
Yeah.
next, Nico?
Next ba? Si Maya, ano na, may
Maya?
thoughts. Maya?
I'm good.
Okay. I'm good.
Ano kaya
Sure. And
sunod?
ito pa yung next.
Oh my God, ito
Oh
na
my
siya.
god.
Ito yung favorite scene ko talaga. Promise.
The revelation scene.
Yeah.
And with the older brother, for that matter.
And I remember the advice ng older brother. Parang the advice that the older brother gave was so powerful too.
Yeah.
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 I
Parang
really
when I
like.
was watching that scene, parang bakit ngayon lang? Bakit? But it was really nice. It was done really well. Especially, I think the period that he was watering flowers pa. Or
Yeah.
watering something.
Yeah. But it's nice na the brother did not give his opinion, that much of an opinion. He did not present himself. Pero he's just there to listen to his brother and be open, to have like lend his open arms and all ears siya sa sasabihin ni Te. Yun lang. Parang it's nice lang
Yeah.
na parang ang nakuha ko lang na parang opinion. Hindi siya actually opinion eh, pero it's more like um hindi rin siya suggestion eh, pero parang payong
Advice.
kapatid. Parang ganon.
Mm.
Na if you like the person, go. It for me, it's more than an opinion. It is more of parang a seal of validation na whether you like boys, it's okay. Kasi kapatid siya eh. So parang it's understandable if merong apprehensions and whatnot. Pero with that particular script or part of the script na dialogue na sinabi ng kapatid niya na kung gusto mo siya, go. Parang ano eh, it validates na first and foremost, accepting yung kapatid. Pero more importantly, okay lang na si O yun. I mean, if it's another guy, I don't know if it will be in the same, parang if his brother would say the same thing. Pero, parang okay lang na best friend mo yun dati, tas nag-transform into a different kind of love, yung nafe-feel nyo with each other. So parang, ayun, ang nice. No? I really like the brother.
Oo, I like the brother. Tapos talagang nagpa-comic relief pa yung brother na, uy, maigising mo pa si mother.
Uy,
Tulog siya
ayan.
ngayon.
may trivia naman tayo dun for all the our friends watching also. So dun sa documentary, this was not, even that line Lance na sinabi mo was not supposed to be in the script. Parang walang ganung line. Nag-improvise lang tong actor, no. Basta ang gagawin lang dapat niya is magli-lean lang siya sa shoulder ni brother. But yun, dinagdagan ni brother. So natuwa ako sa director because he was able to bring out that in each of them eh. Kasi nag-i-improvise sila despite kasi napaka-precise ng director when it comes to like kung saan ka ilalagay, saan ka papwesto, anong sasabihin mo. Or despite
Oo nga.
that, they were able to improvise these lines. And aside from that, um, hindi dapat umulan dito sa scene na to. Yung scene na nag-ano siya ng halaman, wala talaga dapat sa script yun at all. It was not supposed to be in the script.
Pero it
Kaso
was fun.
umulan.
It
Yeah,
was
di ba?
good nga na umulan kasi
Right.
it
It's
like
effective.
tulad ng sabi ni Hannah na it really felt na he was out of place. He was a mess. Because he was
Right.
watering plants
Yeah.
when it rained.
Right.
When it
Right.
just rained.
Tapos ang eksena dapat dito, dapat si brother yung nasa labas, si Tay yung lalabas, parang susunod sa kanya. Pero binago nila yung script kasi nga umulan. Sige, it will make more sense pag ganito yung eksena natin na magdidilig ka na kunwari ng halaman and it doesn't make sense, ganyan. Then si brother yung lalabas. Parang may mga binago silang ganun sa script, yes.
Ang galing.
It's
So, at
effective.
least there's space for change. And I was expecting na parang everything was laid out. Yun pala, they have to go with the waves then and the weather.
Yes. Very true.
Actually, this is one of those scenes na I got emotional. I mean, I think a lot of the scenes that made me emotional, funny enough, were not between the two leads. It was between other people.
Yeah.
Like for this particular scene, di ba? Kasi I guess yun nga, parang we're all affected by different things. And I guess I was hoping that in my lifetime that there was someone when I was younger who would tell me the things that he said, di ba?
True.
Kasi
Yes.
actually ang ganda ng lahat ng sinabi niya eh. Ano yun? Yung parang sinabi niya na there's always gonna be other people who won't approve. Like if you want to hold a guy's hand, there are gonna be people who are not okay with it. But there are gonna be people who are gonna be okay with it. And as your father, I'm okay with it. And if you wanna tell Ma, you can go ahead and tell her. And if she understands, then you're the luckiest guy. But if she doesn't, then you need to be understanding. You need to give her time, di ba? And if you like OL, then go after him, di ba? Parang ano mo yung sinabi niya, parang it's your life. You can like whoever you want to like. And then he said, really? I can like, yeah, absolutely, you can. Diba? So parang, ang saya lang. Naging emotional talaga ako nung narinig ko yun. More than any other scene, I guess, in the movie.
Yeah. Kasi yun yung hinahanap nating validation towards the people we care about most.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Baka ito si Bilkin talaga, no?
Yep.
Diyos ko lang. Charisma ni Chart.
At saka ang galing niya umiyak. Grabe. As in, every time he cries, as in, tagos sa camera yung pag-iyak niya. As in, oh my gosh. As in, he's one of the actors who really makes an effective, ugly cry, which makes you cry as well. As in, during episode 4, I was just bawling. Oh my gosh.
He's one of those actors na hindi afraid magmukhang pangit.
Right.
In front of the camera. Kasi there are a lot of actors na umiiyak pero alam mo yung pinipilit na magmukha pa rin okay. Pero siya kasi, no, this is how I cry and this is an ugly cry. So,
especially after he realized that he cut off most of the important parts of his reviewer. Tapos he just cried because he felt so hopeless. Oh my gosh, I want to hug him. Oh my gosh.
Maya trivia doon, when you notice, kaya ang mga naiwan pang words doon sa trivia. Because we couldn't read the words. I think someone investigated what they meant. They were all negative words and connotations left in the book. So all the good words were all taken out. So parang butas-butas na nga yung libro mo and all you see are the negative words.
Shocks!
So ganun siya.
Oh my gosh.
Grabe.
Ang sakit. At saka
ang sakit talaga.
And Love Ship said, at hindi afraid uhugin, BK for the win. That's true. As in, grabe. Every time he cries, oh my gosh, you really see uhog flowing down from his nose. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Sorry, hindi ako nagpunta ng StreamYard kasi nagsastop yung GIF eh. Pag lumalabas ako dun sa deck chart.
Hindi, okay lang.
Okay.
Flashing comment. Next photo na ba tayo?
Yes.
Sige. Ayan.
Ay, ito na.
Oh my gosh, the scent again, yes.
Ano yung nakalagay sa shirt niya? I think his shirt said something before. I'm
Parang
trying to
things
remember.
that I don't want to tell, parang something like that.
Yeah.
It had to do with a secret. So I think that theme nung araw na yun was all about secrets. And what I liked about that scene after nun, you will see the Chinese painting wherein even before there's time, that kind of love was already existing. And it was shown
Yeah.
through that painting. Then you transition towards the staircase. Pero you could see I remember na yung parang that's wherein parang they were tossing and turning, lapit ka ba sa akin o hindi? Parang yung ganun yung interaction
Yeah.
nila.
Parang landian, harutan dance, slow dance.
Oo. Yes.
Kala ko lang.
Purong sulong lang, tulak lang.
That's what it felt like to me. Alam mo yun?
Oo, ganda na eh.
Meron siyang alam mo yung, oh my God, I don't wanna expose myself, pero meron siya nung, alam mo yung mga in public na tinginan, tas susunod ka ba? Hindi. Yung may ganun siyang vibe na parang, not in a sexual way, like just what happens most of the time. Pero, hindi siya cruising eh. Hindi siya, it's so different from cruising. Pero there's this parang, yung tinginan nila is like they're in a conversation and they're without any script and dialogue. Yun yung na-feel ko dito. Kasi they understood each other to be under the stairs. So parang their level of connection is so parang in a different note dito sa scene na to. Especially ito inaamoy din. Kasi diba he smells like coconut. So parang
yes.
Wala lang. Naamoy ko tuloy yung buko for some reason. Bakit?
Habang tumutugtog sa utak ko yung Bingi na kanta. You want my coconut? Sorry.
Oh my God.
Actually, Smoky Mountain original.
Oo nga eh. And kulang na lang, it felt so, kulang na lang if they had a fan, tapos they're wearing the skirts. But it felt like Rizalista with all the fanning, yung fanning techniques of lande. Na lapit ka dito, parang gano'n, may pa gano'n, may pa-demure kunyari, so lapit. Yung ganong strategies of courtship.
Walang fan. Tote bag lang ang meron, walang fan.
Oo, tote bag lang meron eh.
True.
2020, 21st century.
True that.
Normalized tote bags for men.
Yes, true.
Yes.
True.
Also, one of the things, since you can see, parang mahilig sila na tumambay or magpa-frame sa doorway. Alam mo yun? Yung parang,
lahat ng frames.
There's always that, di ba? Parang there's always that, parang it sort of like wants you to feel like you are either on the outside looking in or that you are peeking into an event or an intimate scene. So sometimes you kind of feel like you're eavesdropping on something because
you're not supposed to be watching this.
Yes. Correct. Sabi ni Kiko kanina, voyeurism daw.
Oh, really? Sometimes it gets a little bit, parang, should I be watching
Pero,
kind of thing.
Pero from a cinematic perspective naman, or when you do it with photography too, it's just like you just want them to be centered on that. Right. And I noticed a lot, he loves his frames. From window to mirrors, to doors, to lines, to curves, lahat, name it, he did it. Even under the trees, he framed them with that.
True. Tsaka naka-asul silang dalawa dito. So parang, di ba, sabi, I think you made mention of this, like they wore blue and then they wore red because it basically evokes that emotion that they're uncertain and all, di ba?
Yeah. And I think with this,
they're closer to each other.
Yeah, like them having the same colors, meaning parang we're finally at the same page.
Right.
But not red. They're not in the same page that they are like expressively showing their like emotions, deep emotions, romantic emotions. Pero you can see Bilkin talaga, sorry. Si Teo was wearing a hibiscus shirt. No? So parang
true.
May hibiscus here and there.
We shift ko na dun sa next photo. I think nasabi na rin ni Maki para tuloy-tuloy na tayo. Ayan, ito yung nasa ilalim ng stairs. Yeah.
Ayan na, yung mahigpit na yakap na stairway na yan.
Yes.
May particular parang placement ng kamay dito sa scene na to na umangat yung shirt. I was parang, oh my God, is it gonna happen there? Pero no, I'm happy it didn't. Na hindi walang super provocative na nangyari in such a
Mm.
public space.
Yeah.
Pero sa underwater scene, I think that's where they became really free. Kasi talagang ano eh, so si Te, kinapaan niya talaga yung right boob ni Po.
Yes.
Yeah, there was,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
there was boob action.
I think that's the next photo, I guess. But kasi we've been talking about
Kailan?
this same scene, ano? Yan. So, next na to yun yung
Ayan
underwater.
na.
Dark blue kiss, ganun.
Dark
Yeah.
blue kiss na boys lockdown din minsan.
The floating.
The floating
I remember
thing.
the line here. I remember the line here. Parang, it's basically, when you're floating kasi, parang you're being supported, and then you like the way that feels. But then, of course, there will be moments wherein you want to let go of control, so you release your breath, and then you let yourself sink. And that's also a very good feeling when you sort of like give in and you don't want to be sort of like, so if you just want to let go of things. So yeah, I think that was very
Nice, no?
poetic.
Beautiful. Yes.
Gemini
And
ba to?
Uy, ano,
Will there be...
go Maya.
No, will there be a DBK photo after this? Because if not, I will share my comment na now.
Meron, Maya.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go to that na, please.
Before
Actually go.
before we go to that scene, trivia for this also. This was not shot sa beach talaga. This was shot at the port. Kasi unstable yung current ng water sa dagat, di ba? Mabilis. I mean, dun sa area.
Anong
So,
time na yun? Okay.
so this was shot. And interestingly, si Pipi, pumiyok ako dun, no? Si Pipi, takot sa isda. Oo. Gusto mo yun?
Really?
Yeah, takot siya sa isda. So,
Pipi.
they had like a lot of shots for this kasi super phobia na talaga yung isda. Tapos kinakagat siya ng isda sa
Oh my
likod.
God.
Kasi maraming isda yung port area na to. So, they took so much time to shoot the scene kasi ang tagal. Tapos hindi sila lumulutang talaga totally. Si Bilkin lang yung chill dyan. Si Pipi yung takot. Umiiyak talaga siya. Umaahon siyang ganyan. Buti na lang nasa port sila. Ayan.
I know the
So,
feeling. I tend to sink
Luha,
in that kind of water.
yes.
luha ang pipi.
Ay.
Sige na,
Kaya kailangan,
DBK na
kaya
tayo.
kailangan
Ito
niya
na.
ng te. Kailangan niya ng te for
Oo.
that.
Yes.
Para hindi magluha ang pipi niya.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the DBK
Ito na.
reference that you would like to reserve and say it out here?
Go.
No, my comments will just be super babaw, but I just felt it was so unfair because OL looks so good underwater. And then pag
Yes.
flip ng camera kay Te, oh my God, sorry for the term, he really looked like fish underwater. As in hindi siya photogenic underwater. Yun lang. I just feel sorry for Bill.
Agree.
He's super cute all throughout. Oh my gosh, that scene really just did not made it to the top for him.
Hirap na hirap siya dun, no? Grabe.
Tsaka parang bloated talaga yung face niya.
Oo.
Yeah. May baong hininga.
May patribute. Was this also shot in the port area or they went really to the sea
No, sa
for
beach,
this?
sa beach na to, parang they had to like travel or parang go like 30 minutes offshore yata eh. And then prior to this, like days before they shot this, they had the training with syempre trainer, di ba? So nasa pool and then they
Scuba
had
divers.
scuba divers, yeah. So and then nung sinushoot na to, just ko ma-feel mo talaga yung intake kasi malalim, di ba? So syempre hindi sila makahinga. Tapos, ang daming shots nito. Di ba, if you notice, parang negative space, walang tao dyan. Pero inedit na yan talaga. Kasi, like, kunwari, sa likod nila, may mga scuba divers talagang humahabol. Parang nagsisignal lang silang ganyan para isalpak sa mga bibig nila yung oxygen. Ganens.
Wow.
Kasi ganun
Unfair.
pero mahirap pa rin, no? Tignan mo sila pag tinignan mo sila dun sa documentary, parang Diyos ko doon, ang hirap, makahinga, gano'n.
Yeah. I think it's so hard kasi to free dive. I mean, these two actors are not professional divers even. So what more if free diving, no? So yeah, the level of dedication is real. And it's, yeah. Although, are we gonna show a scene nung ano nung boob thing?
Wala
Probably not.
na.
Ah,
Are we gonna
wala
Ayun,
lang sa
edit
I
it?
just
default.
I just wanna say something on it. Kasi 'di ba, if you can,
Yes.
there were parts in the series na the boob is something, hindi naman siya, I don't wanna say kasi the boob is significant to Te, pero kasi, 'di ba yun yung ang pangit ng sinabi ko, sorry. Pero you basically get my point na,
Mm,
yun kasi yung purple hibiscus scene, 'di ba? So,
yeah.
it's somehow, parang it's something for Te. For the lack of a better term, I cannot think of how to place my words nicely. Pero, di ba remember nung there was this scene, I forgot which part, pero there was this scene kasi na nung hinawakan niya si O, and then walang bump yung boob. Kasi syempre, O is like,
Flat
uh,
chested.
yeah, flat-chested.
Yeah.
Yun. So parang, dun siya na taken aback. So parang for me lang, yung specific scene na he held O sa man boob niya na flat-chested. Parang wala lang. It's somehow opening up to the possibilities in the future. And it's a start of a new chapter ng pag-explore nila together as a couple, and pag-explore din ni Te sa sarili niya as himself individually. So ayun lang. I see that symbolism and parallelism as parang not the most significant, but also, pero ano siya, it somehow is relevant para ma-build up yung character development ni Te.
Suddenly became very quiet. Hello?
Yes. Hello, hello,
Yeah,
hello.
we were all underwater. That's why.
Kasi diba,
Yeah.
I was hearing a parang like a constant drone, but then it suddenly disappeared. I'm like, huh? Okay. Well, good thing you mentioned that, Mackie, because remember that scene wherein Eo was very emotional. So what he did was, and this was after na stop being my friend scene. Um, Basically, he put on a bra, diba? Because I think in a way, he,
Would we have that scene?
it wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, since I
Moving
said
on.
it now. Sige, tuloy ko na lang
Yun na
since
ba yung
nasabi ko na
susunod?
rin.
Oo.
Sige, we can go to that scene. Okay.
Ayun, kasi, di
Ayun na.
ba, parang,
There.
I think, yeah, parang in a way, I think he was um, hoping that he was a girl instead, so that he could have Tess affection. Because obviously, Te was torn because of his idea of masculinity and all of that, di ba? So, I think that's why he tried on a bra. And I think it was also sort of like him being reckless because he was very emotional that he posted it. And syempre, eventually he deleted it. But it was, in a way, a cry, not for help, but a cry to the universe that why couldn't I have been a girl? It would have been easier if I had been a girl. But then he wasn't a girl, so that's why he broke down even more. And regarding the colors that you guys mentioned, diba? So parang, eto na naman yung red coloring niya. So that's his color scheme, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This For this entire series, I really feel for OL. Like
Me
whenever
too.
Te does something, I'm like, oh my god, here he goes again. And it's always OL who adjusts. It's always OL who sacrifices, who compromises. So I mean,
Yeah.
I have no love for Te, seriously. And yes, we can say na parang you have to understand him and all of that. But I mean, you don't have to be shitty about it. Like for example, um, when OL went to study with Bass, the next morning, Te completely just ignored him. Like, dude, you could have talked to him, or I don't know, something else. But OL specifically asked you, "Hey, do you wanna study the cards?" And he didn't respond at all. I mean, like, okay. And then, parang he just shows up at the boat, and then he just shows up at the resort. Alam mo yan? So parang it's just, I don't know. So I guess that's my thing about, I mean, I understand, but that's my thing about the character.
Yeah, he's a
Like at
toxic
every
character.
turn, he's a very tough character. And I mean, I was actually, you guys can fight me on this, whatever. I was actually hoping that Daz would come through in me
Oh, yeah, me
because
too. Honestly.
because he was what was good for OL,
Mm-hmm.
but that didn't happen because the writer had something else in mind, and he's, yes, love ship, yes,
Oh my
he
God.
is
Oh my
toxic.
god.
He is very toxic. You know what? You
Yes.
said it, and I agree. He's
Amen,
very,
Hannah.
very toxic.
Amen.
I understand that you're going through a lot of stuff, but then again, you have to you have to know the effect that you're impacting, di ba? That you're giving to people. You know? So I mean, you can be
Ah.
confused. Okay, but then work it through alone.
Yes, Mikey.
Don't
Yes,
drag
Mikey.
don't drag
Minimize
people
the
with
damage.
you. Alam mo yun?
Yes,
Parang, yes,
Mikey.
don't layer
Preach.
damage on other people because people are getting hurt. And you're not stopping. You're not taking a break. Wala kang palubay.
Mm-hmm.
That is my thing with this entire series. So, alam mo yun, parang, yun nga, I mean, I'm just gonna mention it. I mean, I already told these guys in the private chat that actually, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful in its lyricism. It's beautiful in its shots. It's beautiful in its poeticism. It's beautiful in its cinematography, color grading, all of that. The acting is on point. But then, oh my god, I just cannot bring myself to love Te. And if you ask me, would I want to watch it again? Well, if somebody else is watching it and I don't have a choice, I would. But it's not going to be my top of mind. And it's not going to be something that I would say, hey, let's watch it again. Because I guess I just don't want to see OL go through all of the stuff that he went through again.
Amen. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop there before I get canceled by everyone.
Hindi.
Hindi naman.
Honestly, Mikey, kasi
No.
I think I told that to Nico din na I can relate to you somehow. Kasi sabi ko kay Nico, I have a love-hate relationship with Itse. Kasi I told him na, I think we were arguing too, na sabi ko, despite its cinematography, despite how it is written, there was something in it na I felt like didn't really catch me, kumbaga. I love O.Ew, I love Tarn, I love Bass and the rest of the cast. Maybe sabi ko, because Te reminded me of my past relationship. And I was O.Ew, my best friend was Tarn. Something like that. We were in that same mumbo jumbo triangle wherein we got pulled into that same shit. So, siguro nga, my past is evoked in this series then. That's
Mm-hmm.
why it felt painful to watch Te kasi I knew how that struggle was and I knew what it felt like to be on the other side of that coin. Na I knew what it felt like you're being dragged into the shadows until you become mentally unstable, you become insane, and you develop, you still want to try to save the relationship, like what all you did. But at the end of the day, like what happened to mine, it ended with a it ended with that toxic note, parang na, I just wanted to breathe. What happened was, siguro, if I were to write that, if that would follow my same story, it would have been Oyo and Tarn talking to each other. Let's help ourselves out of this relationship
Hmm.
because we need to save ourselves. Maybe sa akin, if that was a flow, it would be a powerful message for me na saying you just want to get out of a toxic relationship.
Mhm.
But we will all go back na. This is a BL. They still want to fight for that relationship no matter how toxic it can be. And I think that's why, sabi ko, I think that's what one thing that didn't settle well with, because it was, although it was beautifully made, there was this level of toxicity pa rin. That was part of every BL trope that you've seen.
And sige, I'll add fuel to the fire. um,
Sorry.
I feel that as a character, Te is really, really selfish. He's really, really selfish. Because number one, remember what happened with the childhood thing, di ba? With the acting and all. So he wanted the part for himself. Okay, he may have helped, OL while it was happening, but he did so only because he thought that OL would get tired of it. Yeah. Secondly, um, I say that he's selfish because even though he wanted to help OL, in my head, and this is me, Virgo, overthinking it, in my head, he wanted to help OL because he felt guilty about what he did to OL. So it wasn't out of magnanimity, but for me, it was out of his need to validate that he is a good person. Or in a way, it could be further strengthening his idea that he is better because he's the one tutoring. Diba? Also, I say na he's kind of selfish talaga because he wasn't thinking of how other people yun nga might feel what he was putting them through. I know again that he wasn't thinking straight tama. He wasn't in a good headspace because he was experiencing all of these emotions. But then again, I feel that if I am causing pain to a lot of people, I would actually pull back from all of them. And I would say that, hey, I need to work out some things, not drag them with me while I am going through all of these emotional baggage and emotional, you know, turmoils, etc., and all of that. So, or I would talk it through with my barkada. I mean, my friends are there. Speaking of which, remember he told OL, I don't like it when you treat other friends the same as you treat me because it makes me feel that I'm not special. Dude, you were gone for 5 years. You only came back now. Remember, you left seventh grade. You are now in the 12th grade. They've been together for 5 more years than you have been with him. And in the past 2 years, he has been with Baz more than you have been. And yet, you want to be treated as special because you taught him Chinese. You were tutoring him. So, yung mga ganung bagay, I'm like, that's why I didn't really like his character because I felt that in his head, he was still in that headspace that this is my rival. Now, admittedly, in the end, there might have been a change of heart, yes, and a change of mindset. But seriously, while all of this was happening, I had no love for them at all. I'm gonna stop. Yeah. So yun, that's what I went through. You guys.
Wow. At least, Mikey, thank you. I am not alone minsan. Kasi feeling ko, when I was watching all it say, and at some point, since we're VBS naman, we're all open to different kinds of opinions.
Yeah.
Na parang, when I was watching it, don't they see the toxicity? Parang, or is it just me? I had that kind of feeling nun eh. Na, are they just looking past the toxicity with the relationships they're having? And I think that's why when you were debating on BLs, parang it still followed the formula of the regular BL plots. They still needed to cling on to that toxicity, wherein the Pinoy BLs tried to deviate from that, or most of the good Pinoy BLs deviated from that toxic level. Yun lang. Parang it just, I don't know. Maybe it's part of their formula to add that to appeal to the audience and keep it. I don't know.
Ay, pero ako, siguro ako, I'd like to quote siguro direct Rod Singh, the interview with si Tai said, the Rappler
Oo.
interview, it was a good insight actually from her. Sabi niya, ang sa Thailand kasi, they have a varied set of content for queer material kasi. So merong halo-halo doon. So merong BL, pag BL talaga, they follow a certain sort of formula.
Mo-
Meron din
Ah,
silang GL din. Parang I mean, Thailand is open to all these queer contents, no? In the Philippines, we're actually nung pumutok yung BL dito, di ba medyo nako-confuse pa nga tayo, is it queer content? Is it BL? Kasi we are actually parang in a way parang nag-intersperse siya with queer content because it's actually tackling, I mean, Pinoy BLs are tackling real societal issues. That's why we appreciate Pinoy
Yeah.
BLs.
Mm-mm.
Kasi nga parang never naman lantarang pinalabas tong mga BL na to dito sa Pilipinas, 'di ba? So kaya nagkakaroon ng ganong difference. Pero maganda yung insight ni Direk Rod
yeah.
kasi she said that we have to differentiate Thailand and Thai BLs and then Pinoy BLs. Parang it's like comparing oranges and apples eh.
Yeah.
Parang hindi siya
Yeah.
pareho talaga totally eh. So ako naman, ang appreciation ko naman for this series is really independent of my appreciation for the Pinoy BLs, the likes of GSP and Game Boys. But just to
Yeah.
be fair, no, nung pinapanood ko yung Itse, nag-resurface sa akin ang Game Boys for some reason. And the sentiments, the
Mhm.
emotions I felt sa Game Boys. And I can attest na parang, okay, ibig sabihin, maganda talaga ang Game Boys. Maganda yung pagkakagawa, napaka-organic niya. So, yun lang.
Sorry, may naalala rin pala ako. So last day na nung ano, 'di ba, ng extra class. And then they brought snacks and then they were supposed to give blessings to each other, 'di ba? So isa pa na hindi ko na gusto na ginawa doon nito is, 'di ba, he blessed Philip. And then he told Philip something like, "You always have good intention for me. You never question my good intention and you always appreciate and hindi mo iniitsapwera yung ginagawang good intention ng ibang tao." And then he looked at OL, 'di ba? Pero this happened, 'di ba? Kasi he brought up that thing because he gave up his spot for OL because number one, he had that option, and secondly, because he believed that OL could not pass, will not pass. And that's another thing that I find off about Tess character. Is that parang you already concluded in your head that OL is not at all capable. But then Bass always believed in OL. Diba? So parang that's another thing that puts me in the Bass team rather than the Te team. Kasi
Yes.
parang if you truly love the person, wouldn't you, I don't know, I guess iba lang siguro. Or maybe in his head, sabi nga ni Philip rin naman eh, parang he was worried about you. But he could have maybe trusted in OL more. 'Di ba? Kasi yun din yung kailangan ni OL eh. He basically just needed him to believe in his ability eh. Because for practically their entire relationship, parang na put aside si OL. Parang hindi siya nagiging priority or hindi siya nagiging worthy enough. Or he never sort of like amounted to enough for him, and OL felt like he was also disappointing his parents and all of that, diba? So that's why, that exchange between the IG posts, oh my god,
I
like
got,
parang,
yeah.
diba? Oh my god, I was like, what? Kasi, diba?
Intense. Grabe, intense.
Intense,
Yeah.
super intense, super
Like
intense.
I wouldn't. It would also be painful for me to like just watch
Mhm.
the
It was
banter
so,
between the stories.
Yeah.
and to be honest, I felt for Te at that point. But on the other hand, dude, why would you expect that he would just accept it? Diba? I mean, And yun, basically, why would you expect that he would just accept it? That's basically it. And why were you? Well, I understand why he was angry. Kasi he basically gave it up for him, di ba? Pero
Mm.
again, parang it boils down to, I didn't think that you were good enough. That's why I'm giving you my spot. And that's why OL said, isn't that insulting? Kasi
Yeah.
even if, ano eh, parang um, even if it may be true, I, if I was OL, I would have appreciated that you have just made me encourage me a bit more, or you had tutored me more, or maybe I don't know, done something else except give me your spot, which is your dream, diba? So parang I don't know. So a lot of emotions there, but then basically it boiled down to you're not good enough. So here, silver platter, take it.
Yeah.
And that's even one of the idioms, diba? Parang one of the idioms in Chinese that was in the book. When
Yes.
it was first given to OL, the first idiom was parang getting something without merit, parang getting promoted without, working hard for it. So that's ano eh, parang ayan, nag-figure in na naman yung Chinese language there. So yun, parang he wants to work for it. And he's working so hard for it. And you, who was tutoring him all this time, didn't even believe in him. So,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think along the way, I think I had to shift my lens because I was watching this with a BL lens in some point, and I just kept remembering what Miles was saying in another interview when she was asked the same question, like what was her opinion about BLs from Thailand and the Philippines, and she said like what Rod Singh said. This is Miles from the Influencers Camp Avenue, Psycho Milk. Na that's a very tough question to answer because it's like comparing what Rod Singh then said, comparing apples and oranges because they're both good. They have two different platforms, and like what Tito Popoy is saying right now in the tweets, na they're they both belong to the same sky, but they have different constellations. They have different constructs. They have
Right.
different societal backgrounds. And siguro ako as a watcher, as someone who's watching it, when I put myself in that plate, parang we don't know what struggles they have in Phuket right now. We don't
Right.
know if that society really exists. It's just that in our society, in our perspective in the Philippines, it's not acceptable maybe, or in our moral grounds that we've grown up with, it's not acceptable. But it happens. Sabi ko, and the mere fact that it reflects my experience of love with my past, parang it could be the same way. This is the reality that happened to them. Na if you look, I had to look at it with the indie lens naman. I had to switch to the indie lens to really appreciate to call this Itse. Because if I didn't have the switch lens, if I didn't do that, parang I would look at as parang this there is a bullshit. So parang ganun. Pero when you go to the indie lens, parang I started to see he is a well-crafted character na you'd hate him so much, but for some
Exactly.
people you'd love him.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I had to go that, or else because I don't want to give the same investment I do with BLs with this. I had to throw it in another ball. Kumbaga, let's go indie. Let's give this independent mentality for this.
Mhm.
Yeah, yun. Ay, pero I love that scene though.
Oh,
That
yeah,
sunset scene, parang ang
yeah.
It's
sabi ko dyan,
beautiful.
I finally saw the title. I told Sunset about you when that happened.
Uy, ano to, how do you call this? Sige, magpumuda muna kayo dyan. Kasi parang may iba yung translation nung Thai na title eh. It's
Ay,
not,
oo nga, I'm curious.
it's not,
What
ano,
is it?
let
What
me,
is it?
I wanna parang discuss it with you guys. Ano ba to?
Kasi yun nga eh. It's like, if the title pa lang itself is different from us, so there might be some cultural nuances and moves that
Yeah.
they're experiencing in Thailand and in Phuket especially na siguro we thought Thailand was really progressive when it comes to the LGBT community. So maybe we were expecting, no, they might not have this kind of stories pa rin, this kind
Right.
of toxicity levels. Pero
Okay.
I think we were taken aback by that. No, oh, it still
So
exists.
ito
Yeah.
na yun, Lance. So it says Playrak Chan Dwight. Ito, di ba nag-Thai talaga ako? Anyway, so in English,
Yeah.
it's gusto mo yun?
Ano yung direct translation niya? Like, what's the word per word translation?
It's actually translate my love with your heart. Yun yung direct translation niya talaga. Translate
Ah,
my love with your heart. Pero
that's
Which
so
works
far.
then. It works then kasi it
mm-mm.
ties in with the language school stuff naman.
Yeah.
Mhm. So
Pero
yung
it's so
I
far
told
from I
something
told
about
Sunset
this one.
about you. Who came
Yeah,
up with that?
it's more
I
ano lang,
know.
it's more literary.
Yes.
You will
Yeah.
It's very
hear
poetic.
yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Pero
Mhm.
inisip ko kasi, like, kunwari, maganda siya actually. Di ba may mga eksena kasi na nasa shore sila when Te
Mm.
was kind of confused. So, naka-red sila pareho. And then, hinabol siya ni di ba? And
Mm.
then, I think, ako lang to ha, like, I think, like, I told Sunset about you kasi walang way to really be walang sense of finality to si Tess sa emotions niya eh. And for him to really be certain about his emotions is to tell, I mean literally tell the sunset about what's been happening. And the sunset really is a symbol of like it's crimson, diba? The emotions are there. It's red, it's burning, but he couldn't really figure it out. So he'll just be there at the shore and then I told Sunset about you, hey. Parang feeling ko, linya to ni Te talaga na parang, hey, I've been telling Sunset about you. But here, I am still figuring things out. At least, ako to ha. So, it could be like interpreted differently.
Hmm.
Mhm. Ako
Yeah.
naman,
Parang sa akin, kasi there was a promise, di ba? Na we'll chase the sun to the end. I think that's why they chose the
yeah.
title maybe. Because of that
Mm.
promise. Na
Oh,
feeling ko nun when they were saying that, parang, shit, may mamamatay ba after nito? kasi kasi title is in the past. I told Sunset about you. So maybe it would run na someone would die or disappear again. And he's telling that love story to the sun. Parang ganun. But no.
ako I think kasi it's ano eh, parang I was watching ako sa ako personally nagustuhan ko siya. I mean,
Yeah.
nagustuhan ko yung storya pero hindi ko nagustuhan yung karakter nito.
Yeah.
Parang for me, it's not as fully hindi nag full circle yung kwento. O hindi nabigyang justice yung character ni Te, hindi nabigyang justice yung character ni Bass for very obvious reasons. Hindi nabigyang justice yung characters ng mga kaibigan. Kasi I am with you na sinasabing toxic si Te, which I 100% agree. Pero for me, I cannot base whether the series and the story is good just because of one character. While it is a lead character, just because of one character who is not fully, he's not fully at the 180 degree. Hindi siya nag
Right.
full circle. Hindi niya na redeem yung sarili niya. I mean, it would have been nice siguro. Pero kasi for me, yun din eh, kagaya na sinabi ni Lance na kung titignan ko to in the lens with the lens na normal mong ginagamit pag nanonood ka ng Thai BL is
Mm-hmm.
laging may conclusion yung kwento.
Mm-hmm.
Mabibitin ka talaga sa itse kasi first and foremost,
True.
5 episodes lang siya. But then
Yeah.
again, more
Hmm.
importantly, is hindi kompleto yung kwento. I mean, hindi pa tapos. Feeling ko, hindi pa tapos yung kwento ng character ni Te, pero natapos yung kwento ng character ni Te at ni O sa perspective ng pag-explore nila sa sarili nila together. I mean, feeling ko ang dami pang kwento about Te exploring himself, ang dami pang kwento about um, kung ano ba talaga ang sexuality ni Te, pero hindi siya pinakita dahil hindi yun yung focus, feeling ko. At least for this
Mm.
installment, kung meron marami pang installment sa It's a Universe na to. Pero for me lang, I liked it in a way na um well hindi naman sabi ang kapal naman ng mukha ko sabi ko as a very creative person. Pero as a creative person, I appreciate kasi how they put so much effort into the visuals of it. Pero
Mm.
Yes.
with the story, if huhugutin mo yung storya, dun sa tatanggalin mo lahat ng mga dekorasyon ng visuals, kung huhugutin mo yung storya, um, it's not new. It's not a new story.
Yes.
To
Yes.
say the least, there's
True.
nothing new about it. It's just that for me, nagandahan ako sa Itse dahil hindi dahil toxic si Te. Pero kasi, pangatlo sinasabi ko, pero kasi nagandahan ako sa Itse sa story niya dahil um, parang ano eh, it somehow opened doors to explore yourself. Kasi for
Yeah.
me, exploring
Mm.
oneself is not always gonna end up good. It's not always
Mhm.
gonna end up na
Mm.
I am a better person than I was yesterday. Exploring yourself would sometimes
Mm.
lead you to the dark shadows of the abyss, for at least in this case for Te, na hindi siya naging fair sa sarili niya, hindi siya naging fair kay hindi siya naging fair sa friends niya, hindi siya naging fair sa nanay niya, sa kuya niya, hindi siya naging fair kay Tarn. Pero kasi ang daming mga tao na may ganong experiences na feeling ko hindi naman sa gino-glorify ako to hindi naman sa
Mhm.
gino-glorify natin ang toxicity as something na um acceptable. It is not acceptable. Pero kasi it's also a truth. It's a truth
Yes.
Mm.
that
Here,
also
here.
it also needs to be told. And
Right.
I think is a responsible series naman in terms of having that truth, not glorify that truth, pero having that truth validated that it exists, but then
Mm.
again, leave it up to the audience on whether you would want to be Te. Would you
Yeah.
really want to be Te? Na parang you would somehow get things your way, not all the time, pero you would somehow get things your way at the expense of other people, at the expense of the people you love, at the expense of the people you trust, at the expense of the people who cared for you and still care for you. Parang it's an open-ended narrative and conversation on whether you would go that route, or would you be like in the love triangle that they have, would you be like Bass, who would be as giving and as forgiving and as selfless, pero at the end of the day hindi niya nakuha kung ano yung para sa kanya, kung ano yung totally gusto niya. So for me, it's a question na the answer would have to be from the audience and have to be from us, through us, dito sa mga RVs na ginagawa natin.
Yeah.
So it's a conversation starter, but I think the conversation doesn't end there. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
a part of the story has already commenced. I mean, it has already come to somehow sort of a conclusion na um they are now starting to explore themselves as a couple, if ever they will be, or yeah, if they are na nga sa dulo. Pero
Mm.
yun nga parang the ending is a beginning the ending is not parang it's not a conclusion of Te and O, but rather a beginning of To and of Te and O. Gets ba? Did I make sense?
Yes,
Parang
yes. The gets.
kasi everything, parang for me naman kasi in every relationship hindi siya magsa-start ng maganda if parang paano ba? How do I say this? Parang not all relationship starts at a good pace. Not all relationships din
Mhm.
naman start at a wrong pace, or parang problematic
It's like
pace.
when
There are instances na in this case with O and Te na they may haven't parang they started in a rough pace, pero I think naman na with the level of maturity of O, it complements then the level of immaturity of Te. And parang I don't wanna say naman na O is like that person who would be there to to school and to be the bigger and the better person all the time. Parang um it's a good start. Na parang it's just up for us to, and up for the producers more, na how will they explore that, parang how will they pick up from what happened to the first season, and it's up to us viewers on how we would digest these conversations into, not necessarily apply it to our lives, but more so what will be our pickets from these scenes and these lessons that we've learned. Parang kasi for me kasi parang I don't wanna put Te in the knight in shining armor image because he is
Mhm.
clearly not.
Mhm. Mhm.
Pero he is there to teach us a lesson. Parang 'di ba, if you I don't know if you guys had that parang teacher sa school na alam mo yung hindi siya the best teacher that you have, pero you had so much you've learned so much from that person. Parang hindi siya yung
Correct.
nagfo-foster sa'yo, hindi siya yung nagki-care for you, like bini-baby ka and whatnot. Hindi siya yung aalagaan ka, like kumain ka na ba anak, hindi siya yung ganun eh. Pero madami ka natutunan sa taong yan. Maybe in the wrong way, pero ano eh, kasi parang it's part of the human experience eh. It just like the story of Te and O, it
Yeah.
it drives us through all like, emotions of human experiences. So ayun. So for me, hindi ko man nagustuhan din si Te, pero nagustuhan ko yung kwento ng It's a for now at least kasi hindi pa naman siya
Yeah.
tapos.
Yeah. Well, ako, I'll jump right in and then we can probably give our reviews and then rating na rin. Yeah? Okay lang? Or
Yes.
tuloy-tuloy na tayo? Okay.
Yeah.
So, ako, I'm a very big fan of It's a Really. I had a conversation with Lance and it's interesting because we're coming from different backgrounds. We're coming from different thought processes, I guess, and our own predispositions. Doon naman tayo nanggagaling. Kaya nga, PBS tayo eh. We're here to brouhaha about these series. We don't expect everybody to agree on anything. And we can't always agree on everything, right? So ako naman, I'll have to piggyback on Maki also. I super liked it. I like the story. Siguro kasi I gave up, and I said this dun sa isang session natin, no, Mikey, Lance, Maki, na sabi ko kay Jude na parang I gave up Thai BLs already. Parang ayoko na kasi okay na ako sa Pinoy. And then here came It's a, na-redeem talaga ako doon na although hindi pa rin ako, na-redeem ako ng It's a, pero hindi pa rin ako manonood ng ibang Thai BL, I guess. I'm just being honest. Not
Okay.
It's a pa rin ako. Ganun. Gets? Parang siguro pag may time ako, I'll watch. I super liked it because I didn't see it just like Mackie. I didn't see it like individually. So I saw it like an entire masterpiece and an entire craft. Kumbaga. Kudos to the cinematography. That's one na dala talaga ako doon kasi we've never seen this in other Thai BLs. Aminin nyo na yan. Diba?
Yeah.
Parang I don't think we ever saw this in other Thai BLs. Kaya ganun yung appreciation natin. Aside from that, nag-translate talaga yung direction ng director talaga. Alam niyo ba yun sa documentary? Sobrang kinilabutan ako na grabe. Sobrang precise niya sa vision niya. Even yung movements. Alam niyo yung eksenang may drama with the mom, the brother, and then sa stairs, sa likod ng bahay or ng
Yeah, sa likod.
Yeah.
dun sa documentary, napaka-precise ng director. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Kapit lang, Nico. Kapit lang.
Can
Yeah,
you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Optimus Prime is in the house now. Yes.
Hello?
Hi, Nico.
Left the house.
Hello.
I think you
Hello.
froze.
Nico, you're freezing. It's
She's
2021.
frozen.
Elsa,
Stay strength.
Yeah, stay strong. When you shine, you can do anything. Ayan,
Paano na
Mikey,
yan?
ikaw muna. Or you have new sentiments about to add to the sentiments you mentioned a while
Ayan,
ago.
Nico's back. Nico's back.
Ayan na, Nico's back.
Sorry.
Ayan na.
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Lumipat ako ng network chart. Anyway, so yun nga, in terms of direction, kitang-kita mo talaga yung skill and craft ng director. I mean, napaka-precise nung gusto niya mangyari. Parang he has a vision with the script or he was able to adjust. Yung na-share natin kanina, yung nag-adjust dun siya dun sa script and everything. Parang he had that instinct in him to really adjust through the process. Number two, I super like the acting. Number three na pala, acting. I mean, undeniably, they have it. But they were able to improvise and everything. I wasn't really a big fan of the story, just like what Maki said a while ago, na parang hindi na to bago eh. Parang nire-package siya. But I was able to appreciate the Thai BL again because of the repackaging that they did with Itse. So I'm gonna give it to them. Because ito, parang, and I'll be honest also, while I was watching it, may mga scenes lang, like a couple of scenes na medyo may personal sentiments lang ako. For example, when Te gave up his position for O, I would be like, hey, why would you give up your position? Minsan ka lang papasok sa pamantasan sa university, di ba? and then parang i-give up mo just for that. And ako to, the Nico and me,
Mhm.
diba, would really say na, ayoko, ba't mo ibibigay? Diba, napaka ano naman nun, napaka imposible, napaka unrealistic. But I tried to really, another scene also, yung naghawakan sila ng hita, diba?
That scene,
I
yes.
mean, to me, kung ako to, as the Nico, I would say, hala, bakit nahawakan lang tayo ng hita? Huwag nang hawakan. Diretsuhin mo na ang aarte nyo. Diba? No, really.
Amen. Yeah.
Diba? So, but then again, I tried, sabi ni Lance kanina, you have to, like, I had to, like, change my mindset and consider it like, as it is, like a film in itself, a series in itself, no? So, parang I felt, yeah, hearing you guys, no, Mikey, Lance, everybody, Maya, and then Mark, the fact that we are reacting means to say that it's effective kasi nga galit tayo, diba? Ayaw natin sa, kasi ako, ayoko rin yung character niya. But it was beautifully crafted and put together. I felt it was really organic. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na parang it didn't feel manufactured to me at least. Kasi nga, oh, true, meron toxicity, meron pa rin mga tropes here and there. Pero it was beautifully put there. It wasn't really what we expected, I guess. Parang we anticipated that's gonna happen, but it was beautifully rebranded and repackaged for me. So ako, the fact na nabago nila yung mindset ko for Thai BLs, it's a masterpiece for me. Parang yung pagka-organic nung series talaga, I felt it. And I felt the struggle of awe and then te, 'di ba? Parang if you try to put yourself in their shoes, oh gosh, it's really a huge struggle, especially kay O, na parang hala ka, ang hirap naman ito, 'di ba? Pero te would be also in another like like struggle, 'di ba? So, ayun, the fact na naramdaman ko yung character nila means that to me the series is really good kahit 5 episodes lang 'yan, 'di ba? I must admit dun sa first episode, I kind of felt that it was reminiscent of the old Thai BLs na pinapanood na natin. Sabi ko, nako, ito na naman to. But because of how it was crafted, cinematography, 'di ba, lahat na direction, acting, parang naiba yung flavor niya eh. Parang hindi siya yung basta na iba, hindi, I was not reminded of the other Thai BLs na napanood na natin before,
Correct.
nakailan na tayo, di ba? So yun, so it's really to me a masterpiece. Para sa akin, nagandahan talaga ako sa Itsig. Yun. Mag-rating na ba tayo?
Maya, I want to hear from Maya.
Si Maya.
Maya.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. Overall, it's effective for me. Again, it has good storytelling. The acting is superb. Tapos, I mean, it really affected me emotionally. Oh my gosh, I was really crying. Fourth or
Oh,
fifth episode. Tapos, maganda nga yung cinematography. Again, it's also a series that will make you want to travel and visit Phuket. Di ba parang there are three
Yes.
others? Di ba? Di ba parang siyang Fury of Love or All He's
yeah.
Coming to Me, which
Yes.
will make you want to go in there as
True,
well.
true.
Yes.
True.
So, yeah, so it has everything: the story, the acting, the cinematography, the art direction, everything. So overall, I like it.
Mhm.
So rating, okay.
Rating na tayo.
Rating na tayo.
Yes.
Sige. Who goes first? Wait lang. Si Ange yung nagbigay ng 15, 'di ba before? 'Di
For what
ba?
series nga yun?
GSP.
GSP.
Oh my
Oo.
Oh my
First time
gosh.
nyo lumampas.
Oo. Can I claim my pass also?
Okay, go.
Okay, game. Game.
Para wala na. May kanya-kanyang pass na tayo. Sige, go.
Okay, game. Then you start.
Siguro ako kasi, I'm a big fan of cinematography talaga kasi. And you get me once you show me good visuals
Mm.
and really skilled
Yes.
cinematography, I must say. Parang, hey, number 2, acting. And we've been like doing reviews. Talagang lumalabas sa bibig ko lagi. Acting, 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 acting. To me, effective. Kahit ugly cry yan. Diyos ko, labasan mo kung uhog, keber, di ba? Di ba? So, yun parang, so I would go for that kind of acting, yeah. Pero in terms of writing, in terms of dialogue, parang I've heard of these things before. I mean, it's nothing new really. Parang nothing special, no? Nothing really extraordinary. But na-repackage kasi siya totally. So ako, like 10 being the perfect score, I'll give it a 13. Kasi sobrang hindi ako nag-15 na. Meron pa akong 2 points sa next nating review.
What justifies the 3 points? So I 3 points.
Um, siguro it's a step, a few steps higher than, kasi I gave a 10 to Theory
Yes,
of Love.
Pokemon Go.
Hmm. Sorry.
Ano yun?
Ako yun.
Na-remind ako ni Maya dun sa Theory of Love. Kasi
Napindot. Yeah.
I gave Theory of Love a 10 a perfect 10. Ayun, favorite ko talaga ang Theory of Love for some reason because of the storytelling, because of
Yes.
parallelism, 'di ba? It's kind of poetic and everything, 'di ba? Ito kasi parang it's one step, a few steps higher than Theory of Love. If I were to be specific about it, for so many reasons. Siguro hindi I don't think it's bad storytelling really. Hindi nga lang bago, but it was repackaged really. Si Theory of Love kasi ano ba, it felt good. Okay. I'm a big fan also of, sabi nga ni Lance kanina, yung mga indie kind of film na alam mo
Mm.
yung tipong malulugmok ka, malulungkot ka, yung mga dark, edgy, mga ganong, gustong-gusto ko yung mga ganong pelikula, di ba? Remember si Direk Dolly Dulu? Gustong-gusto niya yung
Yes.
ending trahedya. So, nakarelate talaga ako nung sinabi na yun. Sabi ko, oh my gosh, gusto ko yung mga ganong storytelling na it's not always happy because ako, I would want to feel really grounded. And to me, that's what it did. Kasi nalungkot ako eh. Masakit. Nainis ako, nabuisit ako. The fact that I felt all these unexpected emotions, negative emotions, to me, effective siya. Na hindi ko siya na-feel sa Theory of Love. Kasi Theory of Love was happy eh. Diba it's sad, but it ended happy. Ito naman, it kind of ended there, but I wasn't totally there. Gets? Parang it's still sad, it's still gloomy to me. So, yan. It's 13. Yan, na-claim ko na yung pass ko.
Oh,
How many
Mikey ko
passes did
naman.
we get?
From the other polarization. What's your score, Mikey?
Kasi, ano eh, I didn't mention it yet, but there were moments wherein, kasi, normalize ugly cry, di ba? But
Yes.
there were moments wherein I felt na everything was an ugly cry. So it was like,
Okay.
so it felt like parang the cry sometimes was not appropriate for the emotional
Requirement.
what do you call that, requirement for it. So I'm like, okay. And to be honest, again, there were moments wherein parang, why is he crying? Why is he crying? Alam mo yun? But I was wondering. And I felt like I was disengaged. Kasi yun nga eh, parang the moments that I felt something, it sometimes didn't need that amount of cry. Alam mo yun? Because it was more in the dialogue and it was more in the body language more than the crying itself. So, granted, he could cry on cue, no problem. But I felt like sometimes it was over than what was needed. Okay. And there were some parts na parang I felt a little cringy. Like, for example, when he stuffed his face with buko. I mean, I understand that you felt a bit overwhelmed by this new love for buko. But to wipe your face with it, parang, talaga ba? Gagawin mo yan? Okay. Sige. So, you had those types of things. Alam mo yun? So writing was on point. I like how they wrote it. Like, I cannot fault anything in the writing. Production, perfect. Okay. So it was really more on the acting. And again, you all know parang my lack of love for the characterization. Yeah. So, given all of that, then it's really hard for me, you know. Kasi I guess I'm just gonna base it on what I said earlier. Like, would I want to watch it again? Like, would I suggest it? If people ask me, "Oi, what are we gonna watch today?" or let's rewatch something. Would I suggest it? I wouldn't. So, based on those two things, I'll give it an 8. That's it.
I was expecting a 4 or a 5. Tas ang taas pa din.
Hindi kasi everything else super super galing.
Yeah.
And parang I guess no, my default is if it's a 7 it's passing. But that's a low pass. Alam mo yun. So yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Okay,
Okay, sige,
ako rin.
I'll go next. Quick na
Go
lang.
Maya.
I'll give.
Go Maya.
Sige,
Go ahead.
I'll just. I'm a very emotional watcher, and since it's really bringing me into a lot of emotions, I'll give it a 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Even if the entire like watching experience is painful for me. I mean, painful in a sense because I really like cried throughout the show, but it worked for me that means, so I'll give it a 10.
Yes.
I'll go
Yeah.
next. Let's leave the birthday boy for the last.
Oh.
Yeah.
Paabutin niyo talaga, sabi ko na eh.
Oo
Oh,
naman.
actually.
Paabutin natin ng 4 minutes ito.
So,
4 minutes na lang.
Sinadya talaga mga letratong mga pinaglalagyan natin para humaba talaga to. Charlotte.
Oo nga. yeah, and when it comes to parang I felt like two sides of me were battling for the score. Kasi one, there's the realistic side na in the real world versus the art depth society and the attack. Kasi in the real world, would you smell a buko like that na ganon? Would you see someone go to that extent of artistic prowess, kumbaga? I'd see that more in an artistic indie film that would love to use symbols, characterizations, a bit of exaggeration. So parang it's a mix of both eh. So sometimes you're drawn into the reality and sometimes you're drawn into the artistic cinematography attack and symbolisms of this. So and I also love that they express the internal struggles outside through movement, through the silence, through the cinematography, through the placement of the characters, through the colors, how they were shot, how the music also built in with that. And I agree with Mikey in a sense na there were some scenes I wished he didn't ugly cry a lot. Because in some series you would see the levels of acting. Like we have the walling shower acting, we have the iyak iyak shower acting, or we have we're in the very silent but the mata mata acting. So I wish there was levels of Belkin na he was just not ugly crying for the whole series lang. So I'm giving it a very lucky number wherein their story felt like as much as how many like there's so much multiverses in this story that could happen. An 8. The infinity.
Okay. Wait, nakalimutan ko din palang i-add.
Oh,
Piggybacking.
go.
Johnson. Nakadagdag pa sa emotions yung sound. I mean, the soundtrack.
the musical
Especially,
scoring is beautiful.
it's superb, diba? Especially when they scored Bilkin Kuning, diba? Yung talagang yung voice niya lang echoing throughout the really shattering scenes. Oh my god, it just adds feels to the feels. And also, just to ask everyone, did it also like made you remember your entrance exam phase in high school where you
Yeah.
kind of
Yes.
like dreaded saying goodbye and being apart from your friends from high school. It kind of like also made you
Mm.
reminisce that moment. So it also added to the effect for me.
My favorite shot ko yung study hall nila when Bilkin was moving like that. Tapos makita mo yung when the chairs were also moving diagonal, they went straight and went diagonal again. Sorry. I love that shot. Ang galing kasi nung how they did it with the camera and the placement too. Pero yun nga, I'm giving it an 8 kasi it feels like the whole journey was an infinity. And I share the same sentiments too with Mikey na will I watch it again? Maybe with a friend who hasn't watched it again, who hasn't watched it. But kung if I'll watch it again solo, for personal reasons, baka hindi. Kasi it has so much hugot for me. Baka mabato ko na yung camera ko or phone ko or TV ko because I'd see myself again in O or Tar. Yun lang. Maki, it's your turn. Happy birthday!
Ayan, happy birthday, Maki!
Saktong-sakto.
Already old.
No, you're not. You're just a year wiser.
You're not. Yes.
A
Age is
year
just a
I like
number.
a year wiser.
Mhm.
Ako naman, I like, I loved It's a, it's somehow, hindi, ano siya it's somehow, I don't wanna say synonymous, pero it's somehow, parang similar with Call Me By Your Name. The way how poetic
Mm.
It's a is and Call Me By Your
Yeah.
Name is. So when I don't know if they drew inspiration from Call Me By Your Name. I am totally clueless if ever they did. Pero the buko scene na inamoy, as we've seen that
Here,
in Call
here.
Me By Your Name, the peach.
Mm.
Yes, yes.
The
So parang
preach.
dun ko nakita yung yon. So yun yung that one that went through my mind when I was watching It's a, no, nung particularly that scene. Pero I loved it in a sense. I think I pretty much said everything na earlier on why I loved it and why I didn't. I loved it in a sense na um, it's not cinematography wise. I mean, impeccable for me. The use of color theory, color grading, the use of 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 like the setup, the camera angles are all on point. I would have to agree somehow with Mikey and Lance, no? Yung in terms of acting, I mean, I would somehow hindi naman sa ang pangit umiyak ng ugly cry. What did I say? Pero kasi hindi siya so siguro I would have to agree to a certain point. And there are some emotional scenes that would have parang doesn't necessitate that much parang big of an emotion in terms of crying. Pero for me kasi it's still effective in a sense na um the emotions were like it transcended throughout through the lens of the camera and into our screens. So for me, naintindihan ko yung headspace na yun. Pero I would also have to agree then na in terms of giving justice to characters, I don't know if maybe it's just because of it's the first season, pero I
Mhm.
would have wanted to see more of the friends. I mean, they're just side characters, pero kasi I
Yeah.
wanted them to be fully fleshed out. Then, although we had some parang bits here and there na it's parang ano lang, it came passing lang na um they eventually had their own colleges na and universities. Parang na-mention lang sila. It's just there. Parang for me, the numbers of the friends would have been, parang the impact of the friends would have been the same if there were two people less. Parang ganun. Yun lang yung na-feel ko while watching. But will I watch it again solo? Siguro as I think I've mentioned it to you guys already, way before, that I'm not someone who would rewatch a film or a series or content because it would kind of ruin the first experience, first impression for me.
Mhm.
Pero if for it say, would I watch it again solo? Maybe one more time, just so if yes, please, charot lang. Pero just to to somehow get na baka may na-miss out ako, yung mga ganun lang. Just so that I would because it not only us have mixed reviews for it say kasi a lot of reviews on the internet all over the internet are also mixed
Talaga.
yeah.
Mm. Okay.
So I would want then to rewatch it to maybe use a different lens if for someone who has not appreciated it that much. So para makita ko yung oo nga okay, parang ganon. Para mas maintindihan ko yung kwento and kung ano yung nakikita ng ibang tao na most likely baka hindi ko nakita while watching it the first time. Yun. Having said that, ano ba mga binigyan ko ng 10? Oh my God. I'm recalling kasi if I will use the same meter.
Yes.
Sorry, ang baba kasi binigyan ko kasi ng 10 yung yun ko mabawi. Siguro for itself, I would give it a 10 pa din.
Mhm.
Wala. Kasi as an experiential watcher, it's truly an experience for me watching it say. I
Mhm.
loved how painful it is. I loved how ugly I cried. Parang na-feel ko kasi
Mhm.
when Te or Bilkin was ugly crying, it was also ugly crying. So parang, alam mo yun, have you watched Midsommar? Parang ano eh, there's this scenes in Midsommar na, spoiler free naman, there's this scene in Midsommar na, um, when the character is crying, the other person, the other people comforting the character would not say the typical na, are you okay? Are you ganyan? But they would cry with you, which I think is more comforting. So yun yung na-feel ko while watching it say, when I was ugly crying and Bilkin was ugly crying right in front of me,
Oy.
watching it in TV,
Uh,
not in a short, not in a small screen. So I would really feel all his emotions. Parang I felt it's comforting na that the person who's the reason why you're crying is also the person who's comforting you when you are.
Yes.
So yun, ang dami ko sinabi. 10.
Happy birthday!
happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Narinig niyo ba?
birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Diba?
Ang lakas mga instrument.
Pang fiesta!
Parang instrument tayo
May
lang.
sayawan sa plaza.
Yeah, sa
Yes.
plaza. Baile-baile
Oh,
sa plaza, gano'n.
Oo, salamat
So,
kay
what's
Mayor sa
your-
speakers. Salamat Mayor sa
What's your
speakers.
total score?
Happy birthday. Total score. So our average.
Ano siya? 10.2.
Gano'ng kalaki ang hatak ng 13 mo? 9.8. Not bad.
Hindi ako magaling sa
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Malakas talaga. Ayan.
Uy, ngayon lang ulit tayo nag 3 hours, guys.
Yes.
The
True.
last time was with Dice.
306.
Oo.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh yes, speaking of thighs, may teaser
Mm.
nilabas yung Ride or Die with the Thai caption and water in the sea. Yun lang.
Ooh.
Just now and
Di ba
Twitter.
pumunta sila ng Thailand? May collab sila yata, di ba?
Oo. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let us see.
Well, pero ito, last thoughts ko na lang to sa Itsay. Parang you guys said na, will you be watching it? Diba? You have like different, parang sentiments about it. Parang Mike would say na parang hindi siguro. Mark would say na parang probably once. Ako naman, I'm not so sure if I'm gonna watch season 2. Really, if I were to be honest. Or book 2. Book 2 siya eh. Tawag nila. Kasi parang
But you don't
okay
want to
na.
ruin the experience.
Right. Parang okay na ako na
First
ganun.
name, Ken.
Parang, yeah. So, yun lang.
Yes.
Yes.
Can relate.
And siguro, what you can do is we can also explore other shows. Maraming mga gagandang series ngayon sa Netflix, like Bridgerton, right?
Yes.
What else do we have?
I'm watching Alice in Borderland. That's
Yun.
one thing too.
Oh my God, I finished it. Oh my
Maganda.
God.
Maganda.
Watch
Sabi
it.
nila, episode
That's for
2,
the
I
next
wa-
episode.
I'm already in episode 3, so yan. Maganda siya.
Okay.
Episode
Okay.
3. My God, Lance.
Sige,
And your
papanood.
name engraved.
Ay,
And
yes!
Grounded
Napanood ko na rin! Napanood ko na rin. Pero,
Your name engraved here.
Engraved her in.
Tapos there's Lupin 2 na French. Yung French
Yeah.
Lupin.
Maganda raw yun.
napanood ko
Oh, it's on my
rin.
watch list.
I saw that
Tapos
also.
I just finished Fire Force 2 na anime. So if you're into the anime,
Ganda.
maganda rin yun.
We can explore that, Lance. We can invite some of our friends to join us in
Yes.
the live. Diba? Para medyo dynamic naman tayo. Collab and everything.
Yes.
Uy, hinahabol ko talaga yung RuPaul ha, to tell you honestly. I'm there.
Anong
Oo.
season niya?
Uy,
Anong season ka na?
Oh my
season two
gosh.
lang talaga ako. I need to take time
Oh
to really
my
appreciate.
Oh, you have
Ano
to
yung
binge 1 to 6, tapos pwede ka na huminga from 7 to 12.
sige. Noted. Yung may mga friends ako, ang weird nila. Nag-skip sila ng season. Ang recommendation
May mga
nila,
ganun.
talon ka na ng 7. Sabi ko, ba't ako tatalon ng 7? Ayoko. Sort of
Oh no, you have to see 5 and 6. 5
You have
and
to see 5 and
6.
6.
7, 6. Ah, sige. Pero susundin ko
That's
talaga.
okay.
Yes.
Just follow the hierarchy na lang.
Okay. Gusto ko yan. Wait, that was a good... That was a good review tonight, for its say. I think we are realistic reviewers here. Bruha nga ang tawag natin dito. But we're not always
Yes.
all praises naman, diba? Definitely. Parang we're grounded as reviewers. Reviewer? Ano exam? Char.
Grounded,
Diretso pa din.
electricity.
Oo. But we'd like to greet Maki a happy birthday again.
Happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday
Thank
to
you.
you.
Sana happy tomorrow. Ay, later pala ba tomorrow?
Later. Mamaya.
Alright.
Yes.
Yes.
And enjoy our gift.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Enjoy using our gifts.
Especially today.
Today.
Yes. Tapos
Yes.
pag nagamit mo na, you can use the pillow to rest.
Uy, may sasabihin talaga ako, natatawa ko, di ba? Kasi may group chat talaga kami, mama. Tapos usap-usap ganyan. Sabi ko, ang weird kasi pilo ni Jungkook. Tapos biglang ayun yung mga regalo mo. Sabi ko, parang perv mama na. Parang may papilo. Tapos biglang mga ganun. Oo. Ayan.
Kailangan mahulaan mo kung sino yung nag-order
Sino?
amongst the six of us.
Maya.
Yes! Tama
Alam mo
ka
yan.
dyan. Ano ba yan?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Kasi
From
akala ko talaga nung una, kasi ang plano talaga namin ni Ange, kasi nga, di ba na-mention kanina nga, binubudol ko sila lagi ng mga merch. So,
Yes.
ang full kwento talaga nun is, bumili kami ng magazine, Esquire, na ang cover is BTS.
Okay.
And then, since I ordered it from Korea, so yung consolidation and the logistics parts, ako yung nag-handle. So nung nasa akin yung magazine ni Ange, makikita talaga dapat kami just for me to give her the magazine.
Yeah.
So yun lang yung nasa isip ko talaga. Tapos parang ako, okay, feeling ko hindi naman nila alam. So parang feeling ko wala naman silang idea. So okay,
Feeling mo lang.
Oo.
Tapos pagdating ko doon sa kotse
alam mo yung mga feelings na yan, nakakapanloko. Char. Okay, sorry. You were feeling something, go.
Tapos,
Yun.
And the feeling is
Nung inabot
wrong.
ko, the feeling is wrong. And then nung inabot ko yung magazine, tapos yun na nga, the video and everything. Tapos, inaabot niya yung paper bag. So ko, oh my God, sige. Tapos yung una kasi, inaabot niya through the window. So ko, wait, kasha ba to sa window? Ito lagi na sa isip ko. Tapos nung medyo na-peak ko na, so ko, ay, may unan. So ko, okay. Nakita ko na yung unan, tapos nakita ko na yung damit and yung hair. So ko, okay, kilala ko na ako. Sino to?
okay.
Tapos nung nandun na ako sa room, tinanggal ko yung unan.
Okay.
Tapos may ko sa loob. Sabi ko, bakit may toothpaste? Sabi ko, toothpaste? Kasi isip ko talaga, nag-recall sa akin, sa isip ko yung mga brands ng mga toothpaste. And, it's a different kind of toothpaste. Yun yung naalala ko kung ano yung brand. Yung brand recall. Sabi ko, So, isip ko, okay, so baka naman may one item. Tapos yung iba, kala ko yung isa, bag na may fringe. So ko, ay, ang taray. Feeling ko, sabi ko, ay, si Nico may idea nito. Kasi may tassel yung bag. Si Nico may idea nito. Pang Coachella, ganyan. Tapos pagtanggal ko ng plastic, oh my God, I was so wrong.
It's good day.
Alam ko pa noon, may tumbler. Sabi ko, ano yung tumbler? Bakit may tumbler? Sabi ko, ano tumbler? Okay, kasi may mga tumblers din ako sa condo. Sabi ko, okay, may tumbler. Sabi ko, ay, hindi siya tumbler.
Hindi siya tumbler. You are so wrong.
I was so wrong.
May laman na flash yung tumbler. Charot.
Uy, natuwa ka ba?
Nung una, nagulat talaga ako, mama. Sabi ko, oh my God, paano ko to? Una-una, nasa isip ko talaga, buti na lang, walang tao sa condo nung binuksan ko to. Pangalawa, inisip ko, shit, okay, hindi na, mag-isa lang naman ako sa condo, I live alone, so pwede ko siyang itago sa condo. Sa isip ko bigla, wait, paano pag biglang dumating yung father ko, brother ko, ganyan.
True.
Pero ano naman siya, naka-safe keep naman siya. And,
Sabihin mo,
It's free packaging.
Dad, they're just tumblers and toothpaste. Ganun lang.
Yes.
Sabi mo,
It's a
do you want to
tumbler.
borrow my
Yeah.
tumbler, dad?
Yeah, it's a self-stirring tumbler.
Oh my God. Grabe. Maraming tawa. Yes. Alright. Happy, happy
Okay.
birthday,
Happy
Maki.
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
So enjoy your
Happy
day
birthday.
later. Ayan. This is where we end our session, right? This is basically it from
Yes.
BBS. We gave it a good score for Itse. It was a fair and good review for us tonight, no? So for those of you who haven't watched the series just yet, you can watch it. Meron namang, is it safe to say na it's open online? Baka
Yeah,
ma-pirata.
basta watch the
Oh,
series. Watch the
It's in
Just
series.
live.
watch
Watch
the
the
series.
series. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
it's
Okay.
in line TV.
And
Yes. Yes.
yeah. And
Ako ay din.
tomorrow,
Ayan.
Tomorrow, don't
BBN for
forget.
Yes.
live.
It's gonna be a long one
Right.
tomorrow.
We're going
Yes.
live at 9 p.m. Correct? 9 p.m. tayo. Confirmed. Yes. 9 p.m.
Yes. I think
Okay.
yeah, 9 p.m. Yes.
Yeah.
Sige.
I'll catch up with you
Sige,
guys.
sige, sige. All right,
Oh, we
cool,
know
cool.
why.
Okay.
So tomorrow it's a cheat finale, guys. So go ahead and watch it, and if you can, join us tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Hopefully, when you arrive tomorrow, you bring someone else. Thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead, do that. Yes.
Laban, laban. All right. So this is where we're saying goodbye. For see you in our next live tomorrow and Friday. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Bye. Good
Thank
night.
Bye.
Happy
you. Good
birthday,
night.
Maki.
Happy
Bye.
birthday,
Thank you.
Mackie.
Bye.